Morning, everyone.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about what?
Just not being real communicative and all that. I had the contractor send an email about some roadblocks and stumbles, and I just saw it and had to answer it.
As opposed to before other shows where the communication lines are so great.
Well, I understand, but usually, I mean, I don't know. There's one sentence spoken.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope your week is going well since we got over the hump together. Heck, we've even got football tonight. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We also have a big baseball series in Baltimore, words that have not been spoken in nearly a decade. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How the heck are you?
Good morning. Welcome to week 2. It's already here.
Yes,
just
it
like
is.
that.
Although it's primetime Kirk, which usually is not good. That's all I'm saying. You know, that we get back to the whole Kirk Cousins in primetime stats. And, well, you know, even the playoff game last year started late afternoon, lingered into prime time. You know, when the lights go out, his lights don't come on. He's a 1:00 Sunday guy, noon Central.
There's no doubt. And it's interesting because obviously the Vikings lost. The Eagles did not play well in their win.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot that both teams need to figure out before tonight.
And the Eagles are missing 3 key players. Thursday Night Football, there's already guys that can't go. Can't turn around and go just like that. Boom. So the effect of Thursday Night Football is already seen, at least in terms of the injury report for both teams who have starters out 1 week into the season. But good day for the Rays yesterday. They pick up a win. They get an Orioles 1-run win for Tampa Bay, 1-run loss for the Orioles. And now this is doable. Now this seems possible. 2 back, 4-game series, 3 in the loss column. Rays take 3 out of 4. Technically, they're tied. There'll be a game back in the loss column, and the Orioles own the tiebreaker, but still, there'll be 2 weeks left. 2
But
weeks
you've
left.
got to get 3 of the 4. You really do. Without 3 of the 4, it seems
over.
like it's a monumental task that I don't believe that the Rays can complete. So to me, this is everything. Get 3 of 4, figure it out the last 2 weeks, and maybe you can steal a division from Baltimore, who's played one hell of a season. For as good as the Rays have played all year long, it has been remarkable what the Orioles have done.
And Fox, National, Orioles, Rays. I'm sure that's what they thought, by the way, when they were drawing up. Let's run some baseball that first Thursday night football game against Amazon. What game you want to run? Well, the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing. Okay. But, the battle for first in the East is going to be in Baltimore. I'm sorry, what? Yes, Rays and Orioles. Oh, you mean for the Rays? No, for the Orioles, too. No. So I guess they're showing both. Okay, Fox is, splitting national. So most of the country will see Yankees, Red Sox because, that's what you want to see, a battle for last in the AL East. All right, but I'm guessing in, Florida and Maryland, we'll see Orioles and Rays.
Well, at least I hope so, David.
I really do too. Okay, there are a lot of New Yorkers in Tampa. It would really suck if they decide, you know what, we think the Yankee fans outnumber the Rays fans. We're going to give them the Yankees game. No, they're not going to do that. Relax. So I love big baseball series in September. I absolutely love it. I've got so many memories as a kid. All right. I get geeked up for this. I remember being a teenager and literally just consumed by a 3-game Mets-Cardinal series in St. Louis.
It's funny you say that, David. I was thinking about that because I don't know when my footballitis became the most important thing this time of year, because there were many years that you're right. It was all about, and it wasn't, and I grew up a Tigers fan, so there's only a handful of years as a kid that my team was good. It doesn't mean I wasn't still consumed running home to see the last game. It was a 1-game playoff or teams in a playoff run and getting excited about the pennant races. And it doesn't seem that I have that same love that I once did. Hopefully tonight in this series, we'll get it going again.
I want you to channel your inner 1987, Mark. That's what I want you to channel. What were you, 18? You turned 18 that summer?
I was turning 18, yes.
So were you heading into senior year of high school, or were you heading to East Lansing?
I was heading to East Lansing.
All right, so here you are, freshman, first month in college, freshman year, Tigers making that big run to chase down the Blue Jays and win the East. And they had 2 series with the Jays in the final 10 games of the season, 3 in Toronto, and was it 3 or 4 in Detroit? I don't know. I think it might have been 4.
Thought it was 4, and it was Alan Trammell trying to get an MVP against George
Bell. Correct.
And
right.
Trammell outplays Bell for the series, has more hits, is more productive in the field, and the Tigers win more games and win the division, and yet George Bell won the MVP.
Well, I think he hit close to 50 homers, and then, that was a really big deal back then. And so, yes, I know. Still bitter about that. By the way, the Trammell's in the Hall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, they didn't hold it against him. It's not what kept him out, So, but yes,
the MVP. That's all.
I love it. Here you are. You're still bitter about that. The 18-year-old Mark Miller. I love it. I love the fact we just brought out the 18-year-old Mark Miller. It was not good enough that your team chased down the Jays with the infamous Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz trade, which nobody in the fall of 1987 didn't think was a steal for the Tigers, because Doyle Alexander goes 9-0 in 11 starts for Detroit, and they traded away some Double-A pitcher. Who the hell cares about him? And the Tigers chase down the Jays, and they win the division on the final day of the season in a 1-run game at Old Tiger Stadium which was nationally televised on a Sunday. That was actually the biggest sporting event going on that Sunday. Not the NFL that Sunday. It was the Jays-Tigers game.
Think about
That's
that.
right. Yes.
Think about that. One team in
Jays-Tigers.
Canada. Right.
That was the biggest thing going on that Sunday. Not week whatever the NFL. We'll get to that. Although, actually, I think, trying to think, because 87 was a strike year. Trying to think, I believe we were doing replacement players that Sunday. I thought they played like 2 games and then the replacement players started. I'm trying to remember what week the replacement players for 3 games happened. They like took a week off, gave the replacement players a week to train and get ready, and then they played like 3 games for most teams. I'm trying to think if it had started by then or not. But anyway, so I love the fact we're channeling the 18-year-old Mark Miller, okay, not rejoicing in the Tigers, still lamenting Trammell not getting the MVP when we still cared about those things.
Well, the playoffs didn't last that long for Detroit, so there's plenty to remember that's in a negative way from that season. Because as great as the run was, the Homer Hankies come out, Tigers lose to the Twins. Yay.
Yeah, 87 Twins, baby. Yep. All right. Frank Viola, Ken Herbeck, Kirby Puckett. Okay, let's just win all our home games and we'll worry about the rest. Yep. So I love this. I'm all in. I'm much more interested in Orioles Rays tonight than I am Vikings Eagles. I'm sorry. You say whatever you want about me. Much more interested in Rays Orioles.
I think I would be if the series. I think this is next to impossible for Tampa. I really do. I know that they can win 3 or 4. I just don't think they're going to the way the Orioles have been playing. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, but you're not going to know for at least 2 games. And if they're split, it's still doable. That's the beauty of a series like this. And what you really want is you want the Rays to win tonight.
Well, that's it.
That's what you want.
That's flip the pressure right now on Baltimore. Get game 1 of the series. Absolutely, David.
Yep, absolutely. That's what you want tonight. Get the W, look over and go, we've been here before. You guys, not so much.
Because Baltimore has played with a reckless abandon all year long. They've had no pressure. Bunch of young guys just going out. Oh, this guy gets hurt. We bring up another guy. Oh, that guy gets hurt. Let's bring up 2 more. And Baltimore has been able to play without pressure all year long.
Yep.
And get this done. Because the great start was Tampa.
Right.
They were the one that set the precedent in March and April.
They were the ones Memorial Day weekend that we said they're never going to lose again. Now we've been saying that for the last 2 months about the Orioles, who didn't get the memo last night. They lose the series to the Cardinals? Yes, they did. Losing a home series to the Cardinals. They've lost 3 of 4 heading into this series, Mark. That's why you win game 1. This is losing 4 out of 5, baby. Now all of a sudden, they're slumping at the wrong time. The Orioles never been here before. All those young pitchers, they're hitting that innings limit. Young players haven't been through this. Look at Randy Arozarena. Even though he was struggling in September when it was a big game against the Twins, what did he do? He stepped up in the 9th and he homered. You know why? Because he's Randy Arozarena. And it's a big spot. And he's up to it. There you go. Now we're talking. As a junior in college, all right, September 85, Mets are 3 back of the Cardinals with 6 to play. First 3 in St. Louis. 1-0 in 11 innings, game 1. Strawberry hits a homer off a lefty in the 11th. A bomb, 1-0 Mets. Good in a complete game on Tuesday. We're 1 back with 4 to play, Mark. We're up 1-0 in the first inning on Wednesday. Bases loaded, 1 out, George Foster at the plate. He gets a hit. Mets are winning the division. This baby's over. Hits into a 6-4-3 double play. Cardinals win 4-3. Cardinals go to the World Series. Get screwed by Don Denkinger. Mets go home. 3 days and nights, Mark. I couldn't move. I was an intern at a TV station. They're like, "We need you." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's playoff baseball, baby. Might as well be. I make the hours. Okay, this is the last time in my life I get to make the hours. I'm an intern. I'm not coming in this week."
Is that where it started?
Yep.
That's where it started. Moulton became the boss, even though he wasn't the boss. I determined my own hours. It's a pennant race.
Yep. And I'm telling you right now, if the Mets sweep this series, I ain't coming in for Friday Night Football either. I'm just telling you that right now. We'll be tied with 3 to play. There's no way you're getting work out of me.
That's a fan.
The Orioles and Rays getting together for 4. It starts tonight. Should be a tremendous series. We'll talk about that, plus a lot of football to get to on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
First All-Star game was mid-30s.
I just want to know when we stopped caring about MVPs.
I'd say by the end of the 90s.
So Barry Bonds winning 7 MVPs didn't really interest a lot of people.
Well, no. It was a big deal. The one year, I think it was 91, they gave it to Terry Pendleton of the Braves instead of Bonds.
And it should have been Bonds.
It was a big deal in 88 when they gave it to Kirk Gibson in the National League instead of Strawberry. Strawberry had 39 homers and 108 RBIs. Gibson hit 270 with 26 homers and 76 RBIs. And they gave it to Gibson because of leadership and what have you. No Mets ever won an MVP. No, it. Felipe, it used to be a big deal. Like in the early days of sports talk radio, late 80s and in the 90s and what have you, you spent multiple shows talking about who was going to win the MVP or the Cy Young. Mark will remember, but most won't. You know, everybody remembers Gibson's homer in the 84 World Series and in the 88 World Series. Gibson during that stretch we were talking about, Tigers and Jays. They played the second to last weekend of the year, a 3-game series in Toronto. They'd split the first 2 games, and the Tigers are losing in the 9th inning on Sunday. And Gibson hits like a 2-out, 2-run homer to win the game. And it mathematically puts them in a place where they could come home and they can get this done. It's a huge hit. The Jays win that game, they're going to win the division. By the way, how the hell did you guys let him go? How in the world did they let him leave in free agency to the Dodgers? I never understood that. Dude's a player. No, I know, Shake, and that's it, but Bonds' stats were better. And Bonds was obviously the better player. But yeah, Pendleton was huge. And the Braves made that wild second half run. And yeah, they gave Pendleton the MVP over Bonds. Right before Gibson got hurt, he hit an extra inning homer to beat the Mets. And I think it was game 4 of the LCS to tie it up at 2. Yeah.
Gibson was clutch, wasn't he?
Whew. Mark, was it his best sport or was he better at football?
He's better at football.
Kirk Gibson?
Yeah.
He's better at football.
Was he a quarterback?
No, he was a flanker. He played slot receiver, basically.
And he played baseball for the money, right? A lot more money guaranteed.
You think Kyler Murray thinks he should have played baseball by now?
Hell no.
No, did you see his guaranteed contract?
What's he got, $180 million guaranteed?
I forgot he got paid.
Doesn't matter if he's good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good show today. Roy Cummings. Next hour, we'll talk Bucs a little earlier. That's your 1-0 Tampa Bay Bucs. Thank you very much. Yeah. We'll also hear from Alex Golesh, the head coach of South Florida. The Bulls, they got a routine game on the schedule this week. They're hosting Alabama.
Well, as we were talking about it on texting over the weekend, I mean, Bama got caught looking ahead.
Right. Just a pair of one-on-one teams. Just a pair of one-on-one teams. Nothing to see here. And Dr. Roto in a little more than 2 hours' time. We're not taking your questions yet. We can't keep track of 2 hours worth of fantasy football questions. All right. We got to wait a little bit. Got to wait. And then, text them in 21,000, Twitch chat room, the whole deal. Hey, listen, sometimes we all say things and either we want to take them back or they're memorable. It's like, oh, wow, that was good. Sometimes athletes say things that you remember, like LeBron, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. It was an interesting wording, wasn't it?
It was.
Right. And so we remember it. Did you catch the quote from Aaron Rodgers yesterday?
About the turf?
No.
Okay, no, because I caught a comment that he made a while back about how great the turf was in New York.
Gotcha.
But no, I guess I mean his comeback quote, sure.
Yes. I shall rise yet again.
Who is he? Jesus Christ?
Well, I'm glad you went there because I was going to go there. I'm a person of faith, but I'm not the most religious person in the world. I'm an Easter, Christmas, a couple 2-3 other days a year Catholic. Okay. I pray in private a lot. I talk to the big fella or the big lady, whichever it is. Okay. A lot. Haven't gotten the answers that I'm looking for, but we still keep an open dialogue. But I shall rise yet again.
I think I heard that on Sunday. And all I know is that Father Hugh's an Eagles fan. I'm not sure how happy he's going to be about any of this.
Is he thinking just getting up off the turf? I don't know. I shall rise yet again. You could put that in a church bulletin, couldn't you? Today's sermon, okay?
And bulletin, you could see it on the billboard when you pass by outside. I shall rise again.
Yet again.
That was 8, 10, and 12.
I hesitate to go here because obviously it could upset some people, and but how do you not think that when you see it? I shall rise yet again.
In fact, the yet again does make you think that he's already risen once.
Right.
Maybe he believes he is the Savior.
I remember being, he is risen. He is risen indeed. Okay. I shall rise yet again.
Yet again.
Yet again.
For the record, the full quote is, "The night is darkest before dawn, and I shall rise yet again."
Okay. You could use that at 8, 10, and 12 as well. I'm just saying.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I pay attention every once in a while on Sunday, right after the wife nudges me to pay attention.
Right. Wake
up or pay attention?
Pay attention. Usually the daughter and I are playing rock, paper, scissors.
And the good thing is, because this is a really big deal to your wife, you guys are near the front.
Always.
You're not in the center, though, right? You guys are off to the side?
Oh, no.
Oh, you're
Front
center.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're like the first 3 rows center, are you?
At least first 5, David.
Okay, wow.
Uh-huh.
Well, who's your good father again? The Eagles fan?
Father Hugh. Big Eagles fan.
I say you reach out to him and you say, "Listen, I have an idea for this Sunday. We have a theme. I shall rise yet again." Work with it. See what you come up with. I don't know. Am I a bad person for seeing that quote and thinking certain things?
How else could you? What else would you think?
A little dramatic. Don't you say? Listen, I was there. Okay, we all have seen and heard the hype of the last 4 months. He was kind of made out to be like this godlike figure who was coming to save a franchise and a fan base and to lift them to new heights, or at least heights of which they have not felt in 55 years.
Hence the yet again.
Yet again. I shall rise yet again. I'm like, hold on a second. I need to wipe my glasses. I don't think I read this right. I'm going to go get something to drink. I'm going to come back. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to read this again. It's in the headlines. Everywhere you look, you go to a .com, whichever your favorite one is. There it is. I shall rise yet again. I can't wait to see what the Post and the Daily News came up with. Somebody's got to work that into a back page headline, right? So Okay. I just thought maybe he might have wanted to go a different route. That's all. I mean, you could think that, maybe you're bouncing ideas off people and they go, that's good, but it sounds a little savior-like. Well, we came here to be the savior of the Jets. No. I mean, savior.
As in Lord and.
Right. As in the big fella.
Typically not somewhere you want to go, but Aaron has, gone there. No more relaxing. He's rising yet again.
Right. RELAX. I shall rise yet again. Now, I mean, if he comes back and does in 24 or 25 what the hope was in 23, I mean, listen, I know a few million people in the New York metropolitan area who will get down on bended knee for him. I do. Whether they should or not, that's a whole other story. I mean, Fireman Ed, I can tell you who he, JETS, Jets. It is cool. They put him up on the scoreboard. And apparently there's two other people now at other sections of the stadium. And so they split the screen in thirds. They get Fireman Ed the center. Okay. And he leads the stadium. Okay. In the chant. All right. They got it down. They got it figured out. Even the team, is following the fans on the chant. That's how well he's got it down.
Well, if he rises yet again, they'll all be heading to church behind Fireman Ed.
Yep. I just thought it was a quote. I think it could go up there as I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I shall rise yet again. I'm sorry, who is this? Is this where are we quoting here? Is this John 3:16? No, this is Aaron 9:14. Oh, got it.
I mean, he took his talents to South Beach.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for that drop in. The starting five is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know how we try to get the 6 seconds of truth? I got it out of you there. You didn't even hold it back. You go, what does he think he's Jesus Christ?
Just saying what everybody else was thinking, David.
I know. But you didn't couch it at all. It was phenomenal.
Nope.
Why is he? It's strictly by record, KW. It depends on, like Jacksonville's placeholder this year in the NFC West was the Niners, I believe. First place team. So I believe the extra game, they pit a third place team against a third place team. Yeah, I know. That Stetson Bennett thing's interesting.
You just go Cowboys and call today in the Suicide League? Don't you have to?
Is that the biggest one on the board?
Yeah. Niners are 8. Bills are also 9. Bills play the Raiders.
It'd be tough not to go Bills. But yeah, the play tonight has to be the Eagles.
Hell, I think the Eagles could be you could pick them in a Survivor League right now.
Paul, we don't know. We don't know if he's sick. We don't know.
Here you go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roy Cummings, 1 hour from now. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy questions 2 hours from now. But right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Thursday night football tonight. The 0-1 Vikings visiting the 1-0 Eagles. You know, they did this week 2 last year, although the Vikings had won their opener. Eagles beat them 24-7. Kirk Cousins threw 3 interceptions. Eagles are a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 49. That seems like a lot of points to me. I don't know. 3 Eagles, however, are going to miss the game. Running back Kenneth Gainwell, safety Reed Blankenship, and cornerback James Bradbury out. Vikings center Garrett Bradbury out. 8:15 Amazon Prime. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit with the call. One other football note. Stetson Bennett placed on the non-football illness list by the Rams. The Rams would not say anything else about Stetson Bennett. Basically just said, well, he's not going to be on the roster for 4 weeks. And, when we got something else to say, we'll say it. Kind of leaving it out there that if Stetson and his people want to talk, they can, but we've done our talking, and now we're moving on to San Francisco. Thank you very much. Aaron Rodgers says he will come back. In fact, he said, quote, I shall rise yet again. Amen. So if he comes back in 2024 or 2025, since he said it on September 13th, you know how oftentimes it's like John 3:16. This will go down as Aaron 9:13. Too soon?
No.
No? Okay. We have Thursday night college football tonight. In fact, we have 2 games. Canes taking on Bethune. They're not Bethune-Cookman anymore. They want to be Cook. What's wrong? Is this like William, Ditch, and Mary? What's wrong with it? They just want to go by Bethune. I don't know. I got to get used to that. Canes taking on Bethune, 7:30 tonight, ACC Network. Meanwhile, on the 4-letter network, Navy and Memphis. Memphis a 14-point favorite. Memphis 2-0. All right, baseball. Good day for the Rays. Good day for the Rays. Arozarena leads off the 9th inning with a homer to break a 4-4 tie in Minnesota in the afternoon. They win 5-4. And then the Cardinals hold the Orioles to 3 hits. Keep the tying run at third with 2 outs in the 9th. Beat Baltimore 1-0. So the O's lead over the Rays is 2, although it's 3 in the loss column. They begin a 4-game series tonight in Baltimore. 7:15 on Fox, by the way, if you're interested. So do the math. Rays take 3 out of 4. Bada bing, bada boom. We're tied, baby. Not in the loss column, but we're tied in the standings. Orioles, however, with 1 win in these 4 games, will own the tiebreaker. They will have won the season series against the Rays because they're up 6-3 head-to-head so far this year. By the way, Twins lost, but so did the Guardians. Giants beat them in 10, 6-5. So the Twins' magic number to clinch in the Central is 8. They have a 7.5-game lead. Houston finally beat Oakland at home, 6-2. They took a combined no-no into the 9th. Astros still have a 1-game lead in the West. Texas shut out Toronto. They swept the Jays 10-0. Texas remains in second place, a game back. They're also the 5 seed. They would play the Rays if the playoffs started today. 3-game series at the Trop. Seattle is the holder of the 6th seed. They beat the Angels 3-2. Ohtani missed his 10th straight game because of an oblique injury. There's some question as to whether or not he's ever going to play for the Angels again this year. Or ever again. The Mariners are the 6th seed because Toronto lost to Texas. So right now, Toronto's out. National League. Good day for the Marlins.
Yes, it was.
They were playing with fire all night. They gave up 7 hits, 3 walks, and 2 errors. Brewers had 12 base runners. But the Marlins turned 3 double plays and 4 pitchers combined on a shutout. Tough to have 12 base runners and get a shutout. 2-0 Marlins over the Brewers. And with Arizona losing their 2nd in a row to the Mets 7-1, the Marlins are a half a game back. Meanwhile, Cubs lost to Colorado as Chris Bryant homered again, 1 of 4. Rockies homers 7-3. So Milwaukee's lead in the Central remains 4 over the Cubs. Okay, So Arizona lost, and Cincinnati beat Detroit 4-3. So the Reds and Diamondbacks are tied for the 6th seed. The Giants and Marlins are both a half a game back. That's right. 4 teams separated by half a game for one playoff spot in the National League. How about that?
And with the Cubs losing, they're keeping themselves right in there, only up, 2.5 over the rest of everybody. So This is not at all done. There's still an opportunity. Cubs squandering chances to catch the Brewers.
And like you pointed out, playing themselves a little too close to the rest of the pack for comfort. Hey, give it up to the Braves. This is the best organization in Major League Baseball, and it's not close right now. As great as the Dodgers are and what the Astros have done, cheaters. Braves just won the East for the 6th year in a row. Think about that. All right, the season goes to October 1st. The Braves clinched the division on September 13th. They beat the Phillies 4-1. This will be like if they don't win in 96. If they win, they'll be up there with the 95 Braves. This could be the greatest Braves team of all time, quite frankly, if they win the World Series this year. It really could. And if they lose, they'll talk about it like, 91, 92, 96. Dodgers lost to the Padres 6-1. Blake Snell picked up his 14th win. He may win the Cy Young Award. Do you think they should have left him in game? Anyway, all right. I'm sorry.
Soon? Wow.
I'm just saying.
You know what? We should just ask Aaron Rodgers. He'll know.
Anyway. Yankees and Red Sox rained out. They'll play a doubleheader today. They're tied for 4th. They're both a game over 500 in the AL East. Pirates edge the Nats 7-6. And the Royals, Mark, the Royals and A's are fighting it out as to who's going to have the worst record. The Royals won, the A's lost. So Kansas City now within a half a game of Oakland. Kansas City technically with the worst record because they have 101 losses and the A's have 100. I don't know what's more impressive, losing 100 games by the middle of September or winning your division by the middle of September. A's and Royals exploits versus the Braves. Too close to call.
Well, I think the Royals have done a really good job of being this bad and not getting noticed because the A's of attendance and moving and the bad start that they were off to have gotten all the notoriety of being so lousy when Kansas City's done a remarkable job of being a disgusting baseball franchise themselves.
And what's amazing is the Royals at the exact same time are asking for $2 billion from their community to build a new ballpark at one of 3 sites. And apparently they're going to get it while losing 101 games by the middle of September. I mean, that's something. Boy, that 2015 World Series is going a long way. Long way. The Nats gave GM Mike Rizzo a multi-year extension. That's pretty good. You can finish last a couple of years in a row and get an extension after you've been there 15 years. But actually, they're having a much better year this year than last year. And anyway, Max Scherzer out for the rest of the regular season and possibly the playoffs. He strained a muscle in his upper right arm. They said he's not going to need surgery. He just strained a muscle. The problem is he's a right-handed pitcher, and this is and it's probably going to take at least a month to heal, and the playoffs start in 3 weeks. So Scherzer's doubtful for the playoffs. Mark, the NBA Board of Governors, they actually had to go public with this. This is how bad the whole not playing hard and playing every day is in the NBA. That the NBA Board of Governors had to unanimously pass tougher policies and punishments for, quote, resting, unquote, players. Basically, if you have 2 all-stars on a team, they both can't sit on the same day. You need like a court order or legitimate injuries, like they can't walk. That's what the NBA said. Although there's an exemption for players of a certain age, i.e., LeBron. By the way, teams get fined up to $1 million for every instance.
I think you mean Kawhi Leonard, but okay.
Well, I don't know if he qualified. Is he old enough? I thought he had to be 35. I didn't know that. I don't know if Kawhi's there yet. But I find it interesting, Mark. Teams get fined, not players. So players are going to be like, I ain't paying the fine. I don't care.
Not playing.
PJ Tours in Napa. Nobody cares because we're 2 weeks away from the Ryder Cup, and they're playing over in England. Not the Ryder Cup, but they're playing a tournament. By the way, I'd like to know, Sergio's in this field. How can that be? It's listed as a DP World Tour event. I thought he's not a member. He's not allowed to play. It's the BMW PGA Championship over in England. What's going on here? Honestly, I want to know.
We have relaxed rules, David.
Obviously.
Apparently the merger's already started, and it started with Sergio. That's all I can tell you.
This was the tournament that Justin Thomas signed up for. Now that he made the team, he's not playing in it. Rory, Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, and Justin Rose, though, they're all in the Ryder Cup. They're all playing. Apparently, by the way, the Ryder Cup course is apparently a tougher walk than Augusta. Zach Johnson and Stuart Sink and others, they're like, this is the hardest course physically because there's no way we're going to have anybody play all 5 matches. Just throwing that out there. That's in 2 weeks. LPGA's in Northwest Arkansas for the Walmart tournament. And at 10 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So what are you more geeked up for tonight? Thursday Night Football or the Rays-Orioles series, huh? I'm selling it hard. I don't care.
You're convincing me. I will say. It's on Fox, so it'll be easy to watch.
Mark's looking at me like, are you out of your flipping mind?
No. I'm proud of you, David. You're taking this completely the wrong way. I'm proud of you. You watch your baseball tonight. Someone's got to do it for us.
I will. In fact, I can get in 3-4 innings before they kick off in Philadelphia.
That's the good thing. New rules. We'll get at least a third of this game done before they kick.
Yeah, maybe even 40% of it. So there. And that's with the Rays. And the Rays can really slow things down. For as much as we love the Rays can be slow. Rays were playing the slowest game in the majors before they made these rule changes. So I'm geeked up. I'll tell you, you give me a Rays, just give me a Rays win tonight. Just want the Orioles to just tighten up just a little bit.
And this is the first time they've tightened up. I mean, this losing the series to the Cardinals. When's the last time the Orioles have lost a series?
It's been a while. Hell, I had before the series started, weren't they like 16-5 in their last 21, something like that? So hell, they got beat by Adam Wainwright. I don't know. Wainwright
Nobody gets beat by Adam Wainwright.
Not in 2023. Now in the 16 years before, it was tough to beat Adam Wainwright, but not this year. Did you see with Wainwright, by the way? He announced he's going to sing. Apparently he's a singer also. Final weekend of the year in St. Louis, he's singing. He's pitching, and he's singing. His final weekend of the majors.
Is he going to bring Irsay in and his band? How's that going to work?
I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting announcement.
A pitch and a song, huh? What's he going to sing?
I mean, Ohtani's pitching and hitting. Wainwright's pitching and singing. I don't know. You decide.
Gives you a whole new 7th inning stretch.
I don't know if it's happening on the same night. I think it's just the same weekend. Miller and Moulton. Roy Cummings to talk to Tampa Bay Bucs next hour.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
One of the biggest issues with sports watching, switching to streaming on different platforms, is what we will experience tonight when we find ourselves in the situation of wanting to watch football and the Rays at the same time. I don't want to have to be flipping through apps. So the day that a service is invented where it's all in one
I agree.
That'll be a game changer.
Yep.
But until then, it's a problem. What do you mean I gotta switch from YouTube TV to Amazon Prime? I don't want to have to do all that. Well, you're gonna have to, sir. Well, then I don't want to. That'll keep people from cutting the cord. Some people.
Usually comes down to money, but that is annoying.
It's annoying, and people don't want to be annoyed when they watch sports. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. It's both a football Thursday and a big baseball Thursday. Rays and Orioles beginning a 4-game series in Baltimore tonight. Lead down to 2 in the East, 3 in the loss column. Rays desperately need to take 3 out of 4. That series begins tonight. Thursday night football in Philadelphia. Mark, are you backing up the truck on the Eagles?
I am, David. It's a night game. We all know what that means to Kirk Cousins. They're not winning close games this year. I don't know how many games they're winning. They did not look very good at all in losing against Tampa Bay. Philadelphia did not look all that good in beating New England. In fact, they were outplayed for the majority of that football game. A special teams play, not a special teams play, the pick six really the difference in the game. But I trust Philadelphia in that roster more than I trust the Vikings in that roster, particularly on a Thursday night in Philly.
They played last year. I believe it was a Monday night, week 2, last year in Philly. Eagles won 24-7 for whatever that's worth, which is nothing. Over under on the game tonight, 49. That seems high to me. Eagles favored by 6. Not the biggest favorite on the board, though. You had mentioned off air that if you had to really back up the truck this week, that some call it a suicide pool, others call it an elimination pool. You got to pick the one winner, got to get it right to advance. Get it wrong one time, you're eliminated. And you think you would do the Cowboys.
I do. I think the Jets are going to be rattled this week because he will not rise yet again until next year.
Okay.
I am referring to Aaron Rodgers,
right.
Not Jesus Christ, who Aaron Rodgers seems to think that he is.
Okay. We need to make sure every time we bring this up that those just joining us who weren't with us earlier in the show, Aaron Rodgers yesterday said, "I'm coming back." But here's how he phrased it. I shall rise yet again.
Either thinking he's the Lord and Savior or bread dough.
So now I will say, with the hype that was leading up to his Jets debut, you could see where he has a little bit of a God complex. This is where I want to play the 1-minute scene in Malice.
I know.
Alec
I was
Baldwin.
thinking it.
Okay. If you want to know where God was on Tuesday night, September 12th, he was in operating room 4, and his name is Dr. Right. Oh, awesome. So, hey, listen, this surprised me. This is a stat that surprised me. If you had to guess against the spread, and for whatever that's worth, we know most of you don't gamble, but a lot of you do. And by the way, you might be able to in Florida before the end of the month.
Just saying.
Just saying. pay attention in the next 72 hours whether or not the Flagler folks can get an injunction or not. If they can't get an injunction, then beginning Monday, the Seminole Tribe could do whatever they want. And if you were the Seminole Tribe, you'd start gambling as soon as possible because this just in, you'd make a lot of money. All right, so against the spread, the last 2 years in a game, 35 games in the regular season, which team is the best team against the spread in the NFL?
Which team?
Yeah, against the spread. If you were to bet this team every game since the beginning of 2021, 17 games, and last week, 35 games.
The
Best
Kansas
team.
City Chiefs.
Actually, they're below 500 against the spread. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys. That surprised me. I mean, let's face it. We kind of make fun of the Cowboys. You know, even though they've won 12 games each of the last 2 years, but they're not winning the right games, and they're not winning in January. And so we kind of make fun of them. They're 24-11 against the number.
Wow.
That's almost 70%.
That's impressive.
I agree.
We would all love to be that good against the number.
Hell, we'd take 60%. In my case, I'd take 40. That's a whole other story. So,
and I actually think this is more impressive because the Cowboys are a heavily bet team and bet positively, so their numbers are inflated like those of Notre Dame. You typically have to beat a little bit more than what the normal line should be when the Cowboys are played.
In those 35 games, the Cowboys have been favored 26 of the 35. And they're 18-8 as a favorite, which is 69%. So it doesn't matter. Favored underdog, their winning percentage against the numbers exactly the same. But Mark, here's you were thinking about, I may just play the Cowboys. Here's the stat for you. They've been a 9+ point favorite 7 times. They're 7-0 straight up, 5-2 against the spread in the last 2+ years when they've been a 9+ point favorite. What are the Cowboys Sunday against the Jets?
They're a 9-point favorite.
It didn't start that way either. It started like 6.5. The money is coming in on Dak Prescott. I will say the Cowboys offense was only okay against the Giants, which you go, well, yeah, they won 40-0. Yeah, the offense didn't have to take a snap, and they would have won that game like 26-0. So I just thought I'd throw those numbers out there. If you're thinking about, first off, maybe in future weeks, why don't you just bet the Cowboys? They seem to be on a spread roll. By the way, a spread roll. Should I be hungry after saying that?
I'm just thinking, what's the spread? Is it like a garlic butter spread? I mean, what are we putting on the roll? And I'm pretty excited. No matter what it is, David, I'm excited about it.
I know. I mean, I was thinking peanut butter. Some might be thinking hummus, but either way, I think we're on to something. All right, I got to stop talking about food. It's 7:08. But I thought you'd just be interested in those Cowboys numbers. I got to admit, my play this week would be Buffalo. At home against the Raiders, I don't think they're starting 0-2, and that's all I need. I just need a win. So,
that's a quarterback that's tough to trust right now. Josh Allen's a turnover machine.
Most turnovers in the league last 5 years. Most turnovers in the league.
I think you're right. I don't think they lose, but he's one loss away from a lot of heat coming his way.
Yes. Yes, he is. If they lose at home, because they're like the same favorite that the Cowboys are, right?
They're a 9-point favorite, and I think there's an 8-point favorite on the board as well.
Which I think is San Francisco in Los Angeles.
That's right. Home game for the Niners either way.
Well, it is true. And that's not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. No. We've been there. All right. Believe me, that'll be 2-1. At least 60-40 Niners. At least. Hell, was there for an NFC championship game, and I don't know if it was 50-50. So for a regular season game, heck, it could be 70-30 Niners. Digress. So I just wanted to throw that out there about the Cowboys. By the way, Mark, my NFC champion, Dallas Cowboys.
Feeling good about that after week 1, and you should be, David. Ride it while you can.
Actually, I got mocked so badly in the booth. They just turned and said, "What's your Super Bowl pick?" I go, "I'm not telling." And of course, Joe's stats guy, Ed Spita, he's all Philadelphia all the time. All right. His spotter, Bill Garrity, he's a smart guy, lives in Atlanta. And they're like, "You picked the Cowboys?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, every 30 years, they got to go." And what are you doing? I go, "Oh, stop it. It's the NFL. You don't know what's going to happen either." I picked the Cowboys and the Bills. So there. It's not like they haven't met in the Super Bowl before. And I did. I turned and I said, as long as Aikman's not playing quarterback, I'll take the Bills. So there. That's my pick. Very scientific. As long as Troy, Emmett, and Michael don't show up, I'll take the Bills. How about that? But
in that turnover machine.
I know. Golly. Man, I hate to do this, but he's got a lot of Favre in him, doesn't he? He can be so dynamic. I mean, that touchdown, avoiding the rush, the scramble, releasing it at the last possible second before he crosses the line, finding the receiver in the back of the end zone. There aren't 5-6 guys that probably make that play. And then, golly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That game will come back and bite them. That was a gift that was given to them, and they didn't take it. We talk about this all the time, David. Schedule maker gives you a win, you got to take it. And they were handed a gift. The star quarterback goes out. They have no offense whatsoever. All the Bills have to do is basically get the horse into the barn, and they couldn't do it.
13-3 at the half, too. Yep. Hell, 13-6 with 9 minutes to go. And he throws that pick by the sideline. That Diggs wide open over the middle, by the way, for a first down. Wide open over the middle.
And keep missing Diggs wide open, and we'll see how well that works out on the sideline. So that's, I think, worth paying attention to.
And by the way, what would the narrative be about the Jets if the Bills had just finished that baby off? It would be. They're done. The Jets are, talking about, we'll be fine. Okay, he's a different quarterback now than he was last year. Saleh was saying, trust me, the mistakes he was making last year, he doesn't make those mistakes now. He's grown a lot. Aaron's had a big influence on him. We can all, start bringing up our backup quarterback. Trent Green got hurt. Kurt Warner replacing him on the 99 Rams. I mean, spin it however you want, but think about what the spin would be if the Bills had held on and won that game. Say they get out of there 13-6 Buffalo. What's the narrative on the Jets? They're absolutely done. Put a fork in them. They need to trade for somebody yesterday. Give up whatever you have to give up.
But they amazingly get the win with a great catch and a special teams play in overtime. And, well, at least for a week, the narrative will be, can they win with Zach Wilson? We don't think so. And if you watch the game, you shouldn't think so either.
By the way, the game that's not being talked about enough, what happens to the Patriots if they lose to the Dolphins Sunday? Starting 0-2 at home. Miller and Moulton. Play of the day coming up. Roy Cummings to talk Tampa Bay Bucs in 25 minutes.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Did you see Yonde Diaz take the shot in the Kahunas 2 days ago and then goes 2 for 5 yesterday? Took a foul ball, about one hopper, right back. What was called a, and I quote, hang on here, testicular contusion.
Wow.
He went back and went 2 for 5 the next night.
And they say baseball players aren't tough. Aren't we all day to day with a testicular contusion?
I think I'd be thrown up in the corner.
I think it'd be week to week. But yeah, really, Chris.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for waking up with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, and our old stomping grounds in the 239, Southwest Florida. Glad to be a part of your day. Roy Cummings to talk Tampa Bay Bucs in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Alex Golesh, the South Florida football coach, will join us 40 minutes from now. They're hosting this team on Saturday you may have heard of, Alabama. Yeah, little game Saturday. And as Mark pointed out earlier in the show, Bama got caught looking ahead to the Bulls last week against Texas. So that'll happen. We'll talk to Coach Golesh in about 40 minutes' time. And get your questions ready. We'll start taking them soon. Text them in. 21,000. Twitch chat room. Dr. Roto in a little more than an hour to answer your fantasy questions. And 1 week into the season, I don't know if we've ever had so many fantasy questions that we can ask of Dr. Roto. But did you catch the biogenesis story that emerged yesterday?
I did. A-Rod apparently was a talker.
A-Rod, or as I believe they're referring to him on the back pages in New York, A-Rat. He apparently he was the first one to talk. And they gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card. They said, today's the day. Whatever you say to us today, whatever you admit to us today, we will not prosecute you for. This wasn't Major League Baseball. This was the feds. And so he said, oh, well, in that case.
Get a pen and paper. Get the tape recorder. I'm ready to talk.
So apparently he named 3 players who, along with him, were cheating. Doing the whole, South Florida drug scene. Performance enhancing. And so he named Manny Ramirez, he named Ryan Braun, and he named someone else. We don't know who it is. We know it's someone who reportedly has never tested positive or was ever suspended by Major League Baseball. But apparently was a player of some prominence, at least an all-star caliber player once. Don't know if that player will ever be named. First off, does this surprise you?
No.
I mean, our buddy Seth Everett took to Twitter or X and said, actually, if he didn't talk, it would have surprised me. But he's employed by both ESPN and Fox. Now, apparently, this is his last year on ESPN. Apparently, he's going exclusively to Fox. His new deal with Fox, I guess, calls for exclusivity. But remember, they have the All-Star Game, the World Series. He's part of their pregame show, the whole deal. Would this affect his employment with you if you were running Fox?
No, it wouldn't. I would probably want to get him to talk more about it. I don't know if he would. But the fact that in a sport where this is so prevalent and we seem to want to know more, I now have a guy who's willing to talk about it, or at least was. So it wouldn't affect my ability to keep him employed. I would want somebody to sit down with him and say, talk to us.
Now, I don't believe he did the talking in the story. I believe the two stories that were released yesterday, I guess yesterday was the 10th year anniversary of this whole, biogenesis thing. And so that's why ESPN and one other outlet, had been working on this story. And I guess the feds were the ones that revealed, oh, yeah, he talked. Oh, yeah, we sat down on such and such a date and we said, you got, one day get out of jail free card. If I were you, I'd use it. And he did, and this is what he said. And I don't believe A-Rod is quoted in either story. Could be wrong. So
that's fine. I still would want my one sit down with him. I don't even care if he talks about Ramirez and Braun. Even though a lot of the biogenesis stuff is known, I'd want to get into it with him again.
I must admit, I was surprised that both networks hired him. I mean, I really was. I mean, you have to, and apparently in this story, he admits to a certain period of time that he was cheating with the Yankees, but also there makes reference to a period of time earlier in his career where he was cheating a different way. And first off, the whole thing's a tragedy because he's coming out of high school. He may be the most talented baseball player of the last 25 years coming out of high school, maybe 30 years. I mean, you probably have to go back to Griffey Jr. to find a kid coming out of high school who was viewed as more talented or as talented as A-Rod. And for him to cheat is, for what we all thought he could have done naturally. But I want to know who the third person is, though.
Do you think we'll find out?
Yes.
I do, too.
I mean, does this stuff ever say secret?
Doesn't seem like it.
No. And I would want to know because there are certain people out there that there have been whispers about. And if I was one of those people and it's not me, I'd want it out so that my name could be cleared.
One thing that's always a secret to us, the play of the day, we never know what it is. And we're sometimes entertained and sometimes very surprised by it. Felipe, what do you have today?
Well, it doesn't really make sense that I'm doing this, as you can see me in my Miami Marlins jersey on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. But the Braves have clinched the NL East.
Ready with a 2-2. Here it comes. Got him swinging, strike three. And the Braves are National League East champions for the 6th year in a row. What an amazing era we're in the midst of, as it has been a 6-year run of dominance in the East, and the Braves can celebrate right here in Philadelphia on the Phillies' home field.
Braves, the first team in Major League Baseball to clinch their division for the 6th year in a row. I mean, this is equivalent to the 90s dominance of the Braves.
Well, let's not get crazy. They did that for 15 years in a row. They made the playoffs for 15 straight years. Would have made the playoffs in the strike year. They would have been a wild card. The Expos had like a 6.5 game lead in the East, but they had that was going to be the first year of the wild card, and the Braves were clearly the best team that wasn't going to win their division. But I mean, 6 isn't 15, but this is amazing. And the Dodgers, by the way, have like won it, and they're going to win it here by the weekend. I think like 10 out of 11. But this is, I mean, Felipe, the fact that they are doing this a second time to me is what's remarkable.
And it's funny because within that 6-year span, 2 teams from the NL East have won NL champions, the Nationals and the Phillies.
And the Nats even won the World Series.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's 23 division titles now for the Braves.
And it's
that doesn't seem to compute, if you know what I mean.
Well, especially since before 1991, I think they had won 4. I think Hank Aaron had 2 teams in the 50s that went back-to-back pennants because you went straight to the World Series then. The 69 Braves were actually first year that we had LCSs. The Mets beat the Braves in the NLCS to go to the 69 World Series, and the 82 Braves. I mean, I think the franchise before 1991 had won 4 titles. How many now?
23.
Roy Cummings to talk about the 1-0 Bucs next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Network.
Yeah. Just need him to get on there. Good morning, Roy.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Doing great. Yourself?
Very good, thanks. So you got the USF coach coming on.
Yeah, he and that's why we asked you to move at least every other week, because he said he could do 8 o'clock on Thursdays. And I
Okay.
tried to get him to move. And their PR department was like, well, do you want him at 8 o'clock Thursday or not? And so we said, and every other Thursday he committed to us. And so we said, yeah, we'd take it.
Did you explain that, he's not going that good?
Well, he just got there.
He's about to get wiped out by Alabama. That's fine. It's no issue for me. Get up a little bit earlier. Not as early as you guys, though, obviously.
Whew. Hey, how about that Baker story that came out in which he figured out the signs?
Yes. I mean, a little Super Bowl-like.
It figured out the signs, came in at halftime and said, I've got the signs.
Yeah.
When they do this, they're doing this. When they do this, they're doing this. And I'll tell you what, his second half numbers versus first half numbers, it really did look like he had the signs.
Well, the whole team just found some energy and some life there. But, yeah, very much like the Super Bowl, the first one, where they knew exactly what was coming from the Raiders.
Did you guys catch what he said when he was asked about the sign stealing?
What I caught was him saying how it can't be overstated, and the fact that Todd Bowles was saying, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
He also quoted, he said, I'm a Texas Rangers fan, not a Houston Astros fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No electronic stealing there. Did it the old-fashioned way.
15 seconds.
Yeah, there's no banging of the drums.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. 1 hour from now, Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy football questions. Start sending them in. The text line, 21,000. Or if you're taking in Miller and Moulton on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, then fire away in the Twitch chat room. 1 hour from now, we will ask Dr. Roto your fantasy football questions. In the meantime, Roy Cummings is kind enough to join us again to talk the Tampa Bay Bucs, the 1-0 Tampa Bay Bucs. Thank you very much. Follow Roy on X, R Cummings FHCN, R Cummings FHCN. Well, you tried to warn us, didn't you? You tried to say, listen, they're not going to be that bad. How do you feel about that?
I feel a little bit justified, but it's only 1 week. It's one game. They found a way, which is good. But you know what? If you can go out and steal a couple of games that maybe you aren't expected to win, well, that's kind of how you end up usually with a better than 500 record and get to the playoffs. I'm not predicting that just yet, but although I do feel pretty good about this team. I said I think it's the most talented team in the division. Through week one, I think that was proved out. They're a little bit stronger, I think, than people thought on paper. I think a lot of people underestimated this team in a lot of ways for a lot of reasons, and I think they showed that there's a little bit more here. There's some teeth in this. This team's got some teeth.
All right, they did get the win, but there are a lot of areas that can be improved. They didn't run the ball all that well. It's an area that they've got to get better at. Where do you see the area that they have to improve the most from week 1 to week 2, Roy?
Well, two things. Number one, and it's all to me on the offensive side of the ball, really. I think they've got to start better. Clearly, they came out and Minnesota was prepared for them to run the ball. So they kind of had to change things up right away. And whether they saw that coming or not, it took them about a half of a game, obviously, to adjust. I'm not concerned too much with the running attack, simply because I think, Minnesota came out and just said, look, you're not going to run on us. Baker Mayfield's going to have to beat us. And you know what? Given 60 minutes, Baker Mayfield found a way to beat him. To me, I think that's the most important thing. So, yeah, they got to improve the run game a little bit. Baker's got to be a little bit more accurate, more consistent. That's always been kind of his issue. He's always, been just a little bit off in that regard, a little Jameis Winston like. And I think they obviously have to clean up the pass protection. I'm still not sold on the Tristan Wirfs Luke Gedeke switch there. I'm not happy with that, and I think it showed to be a bit of an issue this past week.
Even though yards per carry was not great, they had, I think, only one negative run, if you know what I mean. Like last year when they ran the ball, at times they had success, but at times also it would be 2nd and 12. Like it did seem as if, at least it was 2nd and 8, and then it was 3rd and 5, if you know what I mean. It was not good enough, but it wasn't bad, if you know what I mean. Like there were times last year in which the running attack was just bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's a very good point. When you're behind the sticks, it's tough. So yeah, at least, look, if you gain 2-3 yards on first down, okay, well, it makes second down manageable, and that usually makes third down manageable. And that's that's the kind of position they found themselves in. A lot of that is just due to the personnel that they've got at the running back position. Look, Rachaad White's going to plow through you a little bit. He's going to try to get yards after contact. The other backs, it's kind of the same thing. I think they've got a couple of different guys here that can do some different things, but, I like this running back core. I've told you that. Sean Tucker, I think, he's going to have to get a little stronger. This is not college. He's going to it could be a tough season for him. You may see a little bit more Chase Edmonds and Keyshawn Vaughn than Sean Tucker, but I like Sean Tucker. I think if he can build up some power and some strength, I think he can help them as well. But the good news is, Rachaad White, his style is going to work well for this team because he's going to keep them on schedule, and that's what they need.
Couple of sacks, forced a turnover. The defense did their job against Minnesota. What is it you liked most about the defense, Roy?
You got to love the takeaways, number one. Antoine Winfield just played a hell of a game. As good a game as you're going to see from any player in the secondary anywhere at any time. But he obviously had some help. Look, the linebackers played exceptionally well. Devin White, if he's upset about his contract, it didn't show in week 1. That's really important. He and Levante David were the powers that they are. And as we've talked about, that front seven was at times devastating. And at times, just constantly harassing the quarterback, got after him a lot. The blitzes were well-timed and very effective. So a lot to like. I thought Joe Tryon-Shoyinka looked a little bit better than he has in the past. Liked what I saw out of him. What little we saw of Kalijah Kancey, you had to like that too. A lot of speed up front. That's the best thing. And this was really their first test against a first unit offensive line. So I'd give him a good grade for this one. Grade A for sure.
Roy Cummings, talking Tampa Bay Bucs. Follow him on X at R Cummings FHCN, R Cummings FHCN. Well, now all of a sudden, hey, here come the Bears, and they didn't look good. And this is obviously a winnable game. Different quarterback, though. A lot more mobile. It's going to be a very different offense that they're going to face here, even though it's a struggling one. Your thoughts on how the Bucs match up with the Bears?
Yeah, this is where it gets a little difficult for young defensive linemen, pass rushers. Again, guys like Kalijah Kancey, if he can play, although that's really questionable, I think. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. The thing you've really got to be with a quarterback like the Bears are going to bring in Fields is you've got to be disciplined. You've got to know where to cut off that rush and start heading sideways after the guy because he's going to escape. He's going to get out of the pocket. You can't overrun it. You can't try coming in from behind and waste those steps. So really have to be disciplined in their approach here. Got to be smart. And you got to be smart with the play calling too. You can't just blitz out, outright. If they can figure out a way to get 4 there, That would help. But more than anything, what you want to do is you want to drop some guys into coverage and just take away the options, force Fields to try to run. And if you do that, you're probably going to be in a good position.
Other side of the ball, the Bears, look terrible defensively. I mean, this is an opportunity for this offense, for Baker to show what he did in the second half and continue on in this game against Chicago, Roy.
Yeah, and you hope that's the case. Look, Baker was, and I think, it was on him more than anything. It wasn't necessarily on the defense because they were giving him opportunities to throw the ball, but it just wasn't very sharp that first series out. But, I think something was said during the broadcast that I think made some sense is when they just kind of let Baker go out there and just play, just kind of not freelance, but just play. He was much better. So I think, yes, you need to have the plays, but boy, oh boy, maybe after the first progression, certainly the second, let him just go. Let him just do his thing. He's a gunslinger, and that's going to be frustrating at times. But you know what? It was frustrating with Brett Favre too. And I'm not comparing him to Brett Favre, but that's what gunslingers do. They take chances. They upset you at times. They get you mad because they make mistakes, but they also make plays. And I think you've got to let the gunslinger sling the gun. So on the Bucs side, open it up a little bit, give him a little bit more freedom, and be a little bit more dedicated to the run. Again, Minnesota came out just determined to stop the run. The Bears may come out and do the same thing, and the Bucs may see a lot of that this year. Baker's going to have to beat us, but at the end of the day, I think you still have to stay balanced. If they can do that, I think they'll be in good shape.
How do you think this Mike Evans story is going to play out this year? Do you think that they've just amicably agreed to divorce at the end of the year, and he's going to be a pro and they're going to be professional and they're going to go their separate ways, and in 7-8 years we'll bring them back and put them in the Ring of Honor and that sort of deal? Or do you think that this is going to be an issue?
Well, I think the record is going to determine what they do. If the Bucs are contenders, now let's say they get to the playoffs and they feel good about themselves going into next season. It's really all about what do they look like next year. Are they a team that has the ability to keep moving forward, moving upwards, or are they a team that's on the rebuild mode? If they're in rebuild mode, there's no sense in holding on to them, even if you're bringing in a young quarterback. You've got Godwin, you've got Trey Palmer. You're going to have some pretty good receiving candidates. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money on that other receiver, especially at his age. Maybe that's when you let him go. Look, he said theoretically he wants to be a Buccaneer for life. That's his priority. But he's got a family to take care of, and he needs to. This is his big opportunity. So he's already, he's restructured the contract several times. He's done that. I just think it has a lot to do. We're not going to be able to answer that question today, is my answer. I guess it's a long way of getting there, because it's going to depend on where the Buccaneers think they're headed going into 2024. If they think they're contenders, playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders, he stays. If they think they're in kind of a 500 tread and water situation, or they're rebuilding, he probably goes.
Well, they're not going to be Super Bowl contenders. I mean, that I think that's a lead.
Well, when I say Super Bowl contenders, I'm talking about if you can get to the playoffs, and that's the way it is in the NFL. If you can get to the tournament, you've got a shot. Anything can happen. So that's how they'll look at it. They'll look at themselves and say, hey, are we legitimate contenders? If it's like it was going into this year, where it's kind of who knows what we're going to be, we had a lot of confidence, but who knows? They'll probably let him go.
He's Roy Cummings. We're not letting him go anywhere. We're bringing him on weekly to talk to Tampa Bay Bucs. That's the 1-0 Tampa Bay Bucs. Thank you very much. Who went from a home dog to a home 2.5, 3.5 point favorite now against the 0-1 Bears Sunday at 1:00. Follow Roy on X at @RCummingsFHCN. Roy, as always, thanks for getting up a little earlier for us. Best of luck to your Cubbies, and we'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Roy Cummings joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Mark, they play 7 games before Halloween, and you're going to hear us say Halloween a lot because the trade deadline is Halloween. And we think that finally that's a thing in the NFL, that at least a few teams are going to take advantage of it one way or the other. They play 7 games.
Okay.
They're 1-0. They play the Bears. Then they go to then they host Philly. Then they go to New Orleans. Let's just say they're 2-2 through 4. Even if they win this week. Okay, they're 2. Then they host the Lions and they host the Falcons. 3-3, they go to Buffalo on a Thursday night. Short week, they go to Buffalo.
They're 3-4.
Okay. Do you think that literally is that the difference? If they're 4-3, they keep them. If they're 3-4, they trade them.
David, I think a lot of it depends on what happens on October 1st at New Orleans. You know, I don't care how they get to where they get. Do they beat New Orleans? Do they beat Atlanta? Because if they win those 2 games, then they are right in the thick of it for the division, no matter what happens in the rest of them. If that's their 3-4, they're still right in it.
See, and I wonder if the Bucs could have the type of season this year, Mark, that the Giants had last year. The Giants, basically, you look at their schedule at the end of the year, not necessarily at the time that they did it, but when you look at their schedule at the end of the year, they didn't beat a good team. Okay, they beat, and look at the Bucs schedule. You know, okay, they got Chicago coming to town.
Right.
Now, okay, Bears aren't a good team, so win that game. Lose to the good teams. Lose to Philly. Lose to Detroit. Lose to Buffalo. Well, the Saints, the Falcons, the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Packers, you know, the Panthers again. You know, you look at this schedule.
Right. You can see a path to 9 wins. You can.
Right. Now, you probably got to go at least 4-2 in your division. But, yeah, I mean, you look around and you go, man, we beat Minnesota. Okay, we weren't expected to. We got Chicago. We got Indianapolis. We got Houston. We got Tennessee. Okay. You know, we go 4-2.
This is where, David, where you made the point to Roy, and Roy's like, just get in the tournament and you got a shot. No, you don't. You make it as a 4 seed. You're going to probably play Dallas or Philadelphia, and you don't. You're outmatched. You're outgunned.
Right.
And these are the hard questions that David and I think front offices need to be asking themselves, as opposed to, can we get into the tournament?
Now, you know, we're on record. I was on record loudly first. You know, I would have traded Mike Evans. I would have traded Devin White. You're not keeping them. You're not. You don't let a guy enter the final year of his deal, okay? And certainly not a 30-year-old wide receiver, okay? You're not going to pay Devin White. The market's going to call for $21+ million a year for Devin White. Does anybody see the Bucs paying Devin White $21 million a year? No. I just don't see it. So, I don't know. I think he gets traded. Mark, I do think you circled the key game, though. That Saints game is probably going to determine whether or not they're pretenders or contenders in the South.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it is our 8 o'clock hour on this Thursday. Dr. Roto in a little more than 35 minutes time. Get your fantasy questions ready as the doctor makes another weekly house call. Also making his every other week house call is the head coach of South Florida. He's Alex Golesh. You can follow him on X at Coach Golesh, Golesh. Coach, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I appreciate y'all having me on this morning.
Well, it is our pleasure. Listen, when we last spoke, you were getting ready to travel to game 1. So you've played 2 games, and we know how you've done on the scoreboard. But how do you feel things have gone?
Yeah, you know what? It's been a fascinating 2.5 weeks because going in, you're really just excited to see what it looks like. You know, we got here in December, and it 8 months in, you just want to see what the product looks like on the football field. And so I'm really proud of a lot of things. I'm really proud of the way our guys are playing in terms of effort and attitude. I'm really proud of how our guys are handling learning of the process of what it looks like during a week. I think there's an intent here with this football team to want to do it the right way and continue to lay a foundation. As I say that, there's a lot of things that you wake up every morning and there's a list of a million things of, man, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look right. And you're trying to find a balance of, man, what's really, really important and what's the end goal in all of it, which, as you go in week by week, the end goal is to lay a foundation for sustained success. And so I'm really excited about the effort and the attitude we're playing with, and we're attacking everything we're doing. But on the flip of that, we've got to execute a lot better in a lot of different ways. We've got to continue to grow within the system and just continue to get better every single week, which we got better from week 1 to week 2. We got to take another huge jump this week with a really good measuring stick coming in here to Tampa. So I'm proud, but I also am cognizant enough to say we've got a long, long way to go from a pure execution standpoint on all 3 sides of the ball.
All right, Coach, when you have a long list like that, when you go through the things that we have to fix, how important is, for lack of a better term, self-editing? Because I'm guessing you can't come at them, after a loss week 1 and say, oh, my goodness, we've got to fix all of this. So how do you choose what it is that has to get done to keep that positive attitude going?
Yeah, I think 2 things. One, being consistent in how we handle everything. Meaning it can't be always up and it can't be always down in terms of when things are really good, you're one way, when things are really bad, another way. I mean, young people are always looking to us, and certainly myself, towards, man, how is he handling every situation? And then I'll gauge how I handle every situation. So consistency in the approach, I guess, at the end of the day is really the answer. So you try to make what's really, really important, really, really important. And you continue to try to make the things that aren't as important, not important. And you literally just attack every single thing in the same exact way, a very real way. Since I got here, that's been the approach, is that, hey, we're going to be really, really honest with you, and we're going to be very, very real with you. Myself, our staff, everything within the program. So I approach it in a very honest and real way. When there's really good to show, I show it. When there's really bad to show, I show it. And really clear and concise in what needs to continue to be done well and what needs to get fixed immediately. So just very honestly, to be honest with you.
South Florida lost their opener at Western Kentucky and then came back and won their home opener last week, beating FAMU by 2 touchdowns. They host Alabama Saturday afternoon, 3:30, nationally televised, by the way, on ABC. Coach, in just looking at the stat sheet, the one thing that jumps out to me is you've given up 3 passing touchdowns of longer than 40 yards in the first 2 games. Are those just guys, getting beat and you tip your cap to the other guys, or is this something that, man, we got to tighten this up? We got Bama in 2 days.
Yeah, so defensively, just like offensively, we're going to be uber aggressive. Everybody talks about complementary football. For us, complementary football is that we're going to be really, really aggressive. And on the flip of that, you've got a bunch of tackles for losses and negative yardage plays. When you're uber aggressive, that's going to happen. You're going to give up an occasional long ball. A little bit of it matchup, a little bit of it wrong time, wrong place. But you're going to give it up. We're not going to be a defense that's going to sit back and keep everything in front of us and let people dink and dunk us down the field. So inevitably that'll happen. But obviously we've got to tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen. But primarily you end up in a lot of one-on-one situations, and we've won a majority of them, and we've lost 3 of them, as you pointed out.
What's the attitude been like this week? These guys know who they're playing. They know what they're up against. What's the attitude been like of the team this week?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the same question you asked about you got a million things. What do you address? It has to be the next week. I got asked about 25 different times in my press conference, man, like that exact question on Tuesday, man, like this is a bigger week, right? It's different. It's an SEC team. It's Alabama. It's at home. It's a packed house. It's the next game. So therefore it's the most important game. And I know that sounds like a cliche coach answer, but that's legitimately what it is. It's the next game. So it's the most important one. It's not any more important than last week or next week. It's the most important because it's this week. I think the kids are well aware that it's a good football team. They are well aware that we're playing at home in front of a packed house. They're well aware of that, but that can't change who we are or our process or what the week looks like or how we prepare. We've got to prepare for everybody the same way. And in winning programs, that's what it is. In winning programs, that's how you approach whether you're playing an FCS game or you're playing a top 10 team. They all have to be the same, because as soon as your process changes, you deviate from what it takes to prepare for a game, the end result is going to deviate as well. And if we build a foundation for what sustained success really looks like, you can't deviate from what your process looks like.
Talking to South Florida football coach Alex Golesh. They host Alabama Saturday afternoon. You're used to playing Alabama from your last stop at Tennessee, and I know every team is different. They were a little more pass happy last year with an NFL quarterback. They want to run the ball a little bit more this year. But what is it from your experience coaching against Alabama that you think you can give to your team and say, hey, guys, you got to trust me. I've been on this field against these guys. Trust me with what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah, I think schematically certainly helps that a bunch of our staff has seen them. We've got what I think 11 guys that were with me at the previous place, so have game planned against them, have played against them, have studied them. So schematically, you've got some experience there. The rest of it, I think, is really more on who we are and where we're going as a team. I'm really, really careful to stand there and say, man, I did this and I did that, so do this and do that. I think as you build trust within a program, we're still 9 months into building this whole thing, that I'm really, really careful in that regard. But the guys watch the film, that obviously, especially on our offensive side of the ball, they you've been watching the same film all week. You see that we've been there and certainly had a lot of success last year offensively. So they understand it's a lot easier when there's film of it. On the flip side of it, on the defensive side, it's a new coordinator, new quarterback. They have changed. So simply a confidence that I've got to exude for the guys to replicate. But at the end of the day, there's nothing really I can say. The tape is there. The plan is there. They got to go execute.
From a standpoint through the first 2 weeks, you said there's a lot that you've been positive about, that you've liked. What's something that you've liked? What is something? Give me a positive that maybe has risen above the others so far.
Yeah, I've been really proud of the effort our guys play with. That's one thing. You come into a new program, you got a new staff. And this is my sixth time doing this in terms of being part of coming into a new program and really, for lack of a better term, blowing it up and starting from scratch. So it's always fascinating to see how the guys handle it. And so the thing I'm most proud of is we fly around, we play really, really hard. And that's one thing that's really hard to teach. You certainly hold guys accountable when it doesn't look right in practice, but I think effort, attitude, energy is something you recruit and something your program has to resonate. So I've been really, really proud of the effort that our guys play with. I think anytime you play really, really hard, we talk every week about playing harder than your opponent for longer. Anytime you play harder than your opponent for longer, you are going to have a chance to go win. There's an execution component. There's a schematic component. There's certainly a coaching component that's absolutely huge as well. But I think anytime you can go in and play harder than your opponent for longer, that's one hurdle that you've overcome in terms of building a program. And I use the fact that I've done this before as the example, because that's not always been the case. That's really, really hard to get a group of guys that maybe haven't had a lot of success to go really, really hard, regardless of what the scoreboard has been or will be. And so I've been really, really proud of that part of it. I think that's our first step in building again, I've said it a couple of times here, but sustainable success within our program.
He's Coach Alex Golesh, and he and the Bulls host Alabama Saturday, 3:30. Coach, thanks for making time for us. Best of luck. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll see supposedly 65,000 at Ray J Saturday, so it'll be awesome.
Yes, it will. Good luck. South Florida hosting Alabama. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Dr. Roto is 25 minutes away. Start submitting your fantasy questions.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's right. Adam, I don't do more than one question per person. So by the way, help me out with the vernacular. When you say would you roster, does that mean bench or play? So we're asking Breece Hall or Josh Jacobs? To bench or play?
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dr. Roto, in a little more than 15 minutes' time, he'll make his weekly house call every Thursday in the final segment of our 8 o'clock hour. Get your fantasy questions ready. Text a minute 21,000. If you are taking us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, first off, thank you. Secondly, feel free to submit your questions. We usually only do one per person, just so you know, and submit them in the Twitch chat room.
I'm having first world problems today, David. I don't know if you've noticed, but they put 2 new mic stands, mic in the studio here. And the springs are brand new.
Right.
So that the idea is that you can get this into a spot and it doesn't move.
Right.
The problem is that when I get it into the spot that I want it to, the springs are so tightly wound that they snap it back. And if you notice, right before that segment started, the microphone moved about 8 inches away from me.
About a foot, I thought. Yeah. And all of a sudden you were like reaching out and grabbing your mic and you don't want to make noise. And right. Hey, get over here. I need you.
First world problems. I get it.
Well, also, let's face it, just like furniture, equipment kind of gets used to the people using it. And the studio that you're in gets used in the afternoon. And we think that both people who use it are taller than you.
Much.
And so, therefore, their positioning and bending of the equipment is different than yours. I think you are asking more of the equipment than they are, and that's why the equipment keeps snapping back on you. Like, no, I don't want to stretch that far. No. So, yes, if I have to fill for a couple extra seconds, I feel like it's a cartoon, and Mark is like Bugs Bunny chasing after something in the car that's pulling away.
Either that or Bugs Bunny's pitching to me, and it's going that slow, and I'm able to strike out all on the same pitch. I've missed it 3 times on the changeup that this thing's throwing me this morning. But that's all right. We'll get through it. 21,000's the text line, 21000 to get your questions in for Dr. Roto coming up here in about 14 minutes.
Hey, how big do you think in the whole process, South Florida, he's building a program here. They've been awful for a few years now. I mean, basically since the pandemic, this football program's been a train wreck. So, I mean, he is building one of the Division I programs that is at the absolute bottom. Here's the good news. Packed house. Nationally televised. Here's the bad news. An angry 32-point favorite in Alabama. I mean, I hate to say it, this week you need to represent, but I mean, let's face it, they're going to lose, but there's a certain way you got to look this week, right? You've got to look decent. Alabama walks out of there. They win. They don't cover. They beat you by 3 touchdowns. So people go, hey, I can see the promise here.
Even if they cover, David, if somehow they end up, get this thing to be a game at the half. You can get blown out in the second half by better talent, more of it, and just a bigger, stronger team. But if they could somehow get the game to the half within a touchdown, within 10, I think that would be something. Because inevitably the size of Alabama is just going to wear South Florida down.
What I'm curious about is Alabama going to commit to the style of play that they said they wanted to play? mean, Nick spent the whole offseason talking about basically going back to playing a little smash mouth football, going back to being the offensive team that we were for the first 8 to 10 years that I was here. And it was only when we got those 4 first-round draft picks at receiver and those 4 NFL quarterbacks did we break this sucker open and throw it all over the lot and what have you. But I want to go back to, playing, he won't say this, playing like Georgia just played. Which, by the way, last year, Georgia's run-pass ratio was 50-50. It's not like Georgia threw the ball 20 times. They threw it like 35. But they ran it 35. And Nick said, I want to go back to being a physical running team. That's not who played against Texas.
They didn't have any physical runners in that game. The only running game that they seem to have right now is their quarterback, David. So, to your point, if they commit to trying to run the football, it may bode well for South Florida getting a cover, if you know what I mean.
So that's what I want to see. A lot of pressure on the new offensive coordinator in Alabama. And sure, he's gotten an earful from Nick, and Nick is probably saying, listen, I want us to play a certain style. And this is an inferior opponent, so we should be able to play that style and do what we want to do against them and gain some confidence heading into conference play, which is next week. By the way, not an easy one to start, Ole Miss. So, yeah, Mark, if I'm South Florida, I'm expecting a lot of heavy backfield, 2 tight ends, and they're just going to try to run it down our throat. And, oh, by the way, get the quarterback involved in the running game also.
And if I'm Alabama, I don't want to rely on my quarterback running the football this week. I want to be able to establish a running game without my quarterback.
Totally. But in
theory,
the
only running game they have right now is their quarterback.
I know, which should not have been the case. We pointed out earlier in the week when we were looking back at the Texas win that Alabama's running backs in that game carried the ball 20 times for 63 yards. 3.1 a carry ain't going to get it done. Texas showed Alabama no respect, by the way. On third downs, they went single coverage, occasionally some high safeties, and they sent 6 guys on third down. They said to that quarterback, we're coming after you, number 1, and number 2, we don't think you can beat us throwing the ball. Well, Coach Golesh just told us, they're very aggressive defensively. I would expect him on third down to play a similar style, quite frankly. Go after the quarterback and, man up on the receivers and let's go.
And if he beats you with the deep ball, he beats you with the deep ball. Seems to be the best one he throws, by the way. To heave it and let someone run under it, because precision was not his game.
So I'm intrigued in the game because you can get beat by 4 touchdowns and still impress people. And Alabama is expected to roll here. 32-point favorite. South Florida gave up almost 400 yards to FAMU last week at home. If you're giving up 393 to FAMU, in theory, Alabama should come in here and put up about 550. So I'm curious early in the game. I think Alabama is going to try to establish how it is they really want to play. And South Florida, can they stand up to it? Can they punch them back in the first quarter? Remember, South Florida took the Gators to the end last year. Things can happen.
And they played Western Kentucky tough for that whole game. That was not the final score. It was a strip sack late in the game that made that a 17-point game. They played that game pretty well. I know it's Alabama. I know it's a huge rise in competition. I get it.
But Western is expected to win Conference USA, by the way. That's a solid team. So I'm curious about the game, Mark. That's all. Genuinely interested. 3:30. I'll be busy. I will. A little South Carolina, Georgia thing going on. But I'll be during the commercial breaks. I'll be grabbing the phone going, how are the Bulls doing? We'll be sending it to New York for highlights. Every time Alabama does something or South Florida does something, Adam Zucker back in our New York studios. You'll be seeing it.
You have to do something right now, and that's either join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, tweet at us your questions, or text them to us at 21,000, because the good doctor, Dr. Roto, is next to answer your fantasy questions and get you a win in week 2 in the NFL season. That's next on Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Papa Jake, I think it's just you, but well, that sucks, Jake.
Roto's on hold.
Get all your questions answered. You got your lineup set?
Oh, the question I asked yesterday, I asked him.
It's nice that you get a guest on time when it's someone you want to talk to. 6:35. He's on 8:35. He's on the phone with him. That's all I heard.
I got 2 questions.
I got to worry about my team here.
I had a lot to say. All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
And it is that time. It is the final segment along the network on a Thursday. And it is the time for our doctor to make his weekly house call. It is Dr. Roto. He of SiriusXM's Fantasy Sports Radio. He of drroto.com, DRROTO.com. And that's how you follow him on Twitter/X at DRROTO as well. He's got nearly 50,000 followers, for goodness sakes. Man, people want to hear what he has to say.
You added our followers together and multiplied them by 10. We'd almost be there.
Almost. Hey, Doc, good morning.
Doesn't Twitter/X just roll off the tongue?
Actually, we're trying to go with Twix. Okay, that's what we're trying to go with.
He just loves his candy. Right. I get it.
So, well, all right, let's start with the obvious. What the do you do if you had Aaron Rodgers and if you had Jets on your team? I mean, talk to us here. What do you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, when you're watching that game, you couldn't be more, first of all, miserable. Like Jet fans aren't allowed anything good in life, right? You can't enjoy life if you're a Jet fan. You're supposed to be miserable. You could only look back to 1969. And I feel badly. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers, you read afterward that he didn't like some of these play calls, but still, I mean, just I can't imagine anything worse for the Jets right there. Breece Hall looked tremendous. I mean, he really looked good. As good as he looked is as sad as now the prospects are fantasy-wise for the rest of the team. So you look at Garrett Wilson and you ask yourself this question. If Aaron Rodgers was not the quarterback and Zach Wilson was the quarterback from week 1, he probably would have been like a 4th or 5th round pick. You would have been people are taking Garrett Wilson in the 1st round thinking that he'd be like Devontae Adams in Green Bay's offense. Well, that's not happening. You know, Alan Lazard, you know, maybe you took him as one of your later receivers. The expectations are very low. The defense is tremendous. The running game is tremendous, which they'll lean on. Zach Wilson will probably be asked to throw the ball about 25 times a game. He just has to not suck, which I'm not sure is possible.
It just has to not suck. And I'm not sure that's possible. 21,000 is the text line. 21,000, your questions for Dr. Roto as we get ready for week 2 in fantasy. Hopefully your season started off well, and we can help you continue that way. Let's get to the questions, Doc. Right now, a quarterback question off the hop. Lamar Jackson or Jordan Love? Who are you starting this week?
Yeah, so look, I think this is what we call overcorrection week 2. Oh, my God, Lamar Jackson, he was terrible. I'm not going to start him. Jordan Love looks really good last week. I mean, come on, look. Jordan Love is a good player, but he's not Lamar Jackson. And you're not playing him against Cincinnati. You know, Daniel Jones, that was the worst Giant game I've ever seen in the last 40 years, which it was, by the way. You know what? Would it shock me if Daniel Jones went out and had a good week? Of course not. I mean, people just go, it's like a pendulum. This guy sucks. This guy's good. What we're looking for here is about 4 weeks of games to see a pattern. Now, if Daniel Jones sucks for 4 weeks, well, then maybe there's an issue. If Lamar Jackson's having issues for 4 weeks and he's not throwing for touchdown passes, then I'm willing to be open-minded. Week 2, I've got to go with what I thought all off season long, which is that Lamar Jackson's going to have an MVP type of year.
The Arizona new head coach was the Eagles defensive coordinator. He opens up with Washington and the Giants. He at least knows what he's facing. They played very well against Washington last week. Would not surprise me if Arizona's defense is formidable against the Giants this week. Another quarterback question, Doc, Burrow or Deshaun?
Yeah, no, I think this one is interesting to me. I'm probably leaning towards Burrow. I think that this has to correct itself, really. I mean, look, last week was just an abomination for Cincinnati, but that was to be expected. He didn't play at all in the preseason. He did not play a second. He was out from training camp. Now, I mean, I know he's Joe Burrow, but were we expecting him to come out and be Dan Marino? I think that's unfair expectations. I don't like how Deshaun Watson's looking. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, is he throwing the football so great? Is that Steelers-Browns game looking like something you're dying to watch right now? I don't know. Give me Joe Burrow. Give me that game. And I think that game is like a 46 spot in Vegas, where the Steeler game is 38. Tells me everything I need to know.
Pick 2 here. T. Higgins, Mike Evans, D-Hop. Pick 2.
Well, Mike Evans for sure. I'm going to play. I think he's in a good spot this week. So now we're looking at Higgins and D-Hop. So there was something that happened last week. Ryan Tannehill really, really was off. There were plays, if you watch back at that game, he missed Okonkwo, he missed Spears, he just missed. And Hopkins was not happy, right? And I don't even know why he went to the Titans. This was predictable, right? This was predictable that he wasn't going to be happy. So, I mean, I think the Higgins things will correct, so I'm probably going to lean that way. I really think that Derrick Henry has a big week this week. The Chargers are not known for their run defense, and Henry was really not – he was, as we say on eBay, gently used last week. So I'm thinking that he's going to be used more this week.
Yeah, Tannehill knows it too. He's addressed it to the point where he now said, okay, enough questions about how bad I was. He literally said those words, enough questions about how bad I was. I know it, right? I think this week could determine whether or not he plays most of the rest of the year or whether or not they make a switch sooner rather than later. All right, got a bunch of questions in the Twitch chat room. Adam wants to know for flex, he's going to use a running back. He's already got McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker. Should he go Justice Hill or DeAndre Swift?
Ooh, so this is a really good question here. I think when J.K. Dobbins went down, sadly, I was very upset because I really thought he was going to break out this year, and he was having a good game before that happened. I mean, could you imagine 2 guys tearing Achilles in 1 week? But then I thought maybe they go out and get Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt, who I think would be a terrific fit there. But no, they brought up, Melvin Gordon, who stinks. So, I mean, maybe they're committed to giving Justice Hill some run. Justice Hill has some twitch to him. I mean, he scored a couple of touchdowns. He's good out of the backfield. I picked him up in 1 league. He went for a ton of money in high stakes leagues. I mean, people were going crazy, $300, $400, $500. I mean, I didn't bid anything near that, but I'm willing to take a chance for 1 week to see what it looks like. Now, Swift is interesting because Gainwell is going to be out, but who's to say that Rashad Penny's not going to come in and run for 100 yards and a touchdown. And I think that Hurts is going to throw the ball a lot more this week, especially with that Vikings horrible secondary. So I'm going to give Justice Hill a little run.
All right, another quarterback question. Fields versus the Bucs or AR versus the Texans? Who do you like?
Interestingly enough, I think Anthony Richardson played very well.
He did.
Not surprisingly. I mean, he's a better quarterback than Justin Fields, right? But I think he played well. He just has to learn how to slide. The dude is not in college anymore. He got lucky last week. But the Texans defense is very underrated. I think the Texans might win this week. I think they're going to play well at home. I think Dameon Pierce is going to play well. So with all that being said, give me Justin Fields to make a play or two against Tampa. I think Tampa's coming off a big win. I mean, wow, that was a great second half. I mean, can they build on that? I don't know. I mean, it feels like if the Bears are 1-1 and Tampa's 1-1, makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, a couple of questions involving Kirk Cousins. Harry wants to know Dak or Cousins, and another gentleman wants to know Richardson or Cousins.
Okay, so I can't play. I think the Vikings are in trouble tonight. I think they're in trouble. And Kirk Cousins, as we all know, does not do well in games where he's on TV. I mean, didn't he just really, what the bed last year against the Eagles? Horrible. That said, Dak against the Jets doesn't feel like a winner to me. Jets going to play really good defense. Dak didn't have to throw the ball barely much last week. Probably not because he's not very accurate. I think I'll probably use Cousins there over Dak. Which was the other one?
Richardson or Cousins?
Oh man, I them both. I could see a pathway for Richardson to have more success because you're always getting the rushing touchdown. So I'll definitely play Cousins over Dak. Richardson is 50-50.
All right, DFS question. Just looking for a player that's in a big smash spot this week and a sleeper you may have in DFS.
Oh, I think Josh Jacobs in the smash spot. I mean, that's a smash spot. Did you see what Breece Hall did against the Bills? What do you think Josh Jacobs is going to do? Same thing. So you just play. Bills run defense has always been bad. I think I'm looking at that Lions-Seahawks game as something that might be interesting. Maybe Sam Laporta at tight end. Remember, Seahawks not very good against tight ends. I don't know what happened to Tyler Higbee last week. He got action in the early part of the game, and then it became the Puka Nacua show. But I think Sam Laporta for cheap might be interesting.
Rickett in our Twitch chat room wants to know, not just for this week, but really for the whole year, Tua or Herbert, who would you play?
That's a really good question. Here's what I didn't like out of the Chargers offense last week. I felt they ran the ball so successfully that I think it took Herbert out of his rhythm. And here we were all off season. Oh, Kellen Moore's going to throw the ball downfield. Kellen Moore's going to throw the ball downfield. We didn't see that because it was Eckler and Kelly 1-2 punching, thunder and lightning. If Herbert's only going to throw the ball like he did last week, give me Tua all day. I think Mike McDaniel's a very creative play caller. I think Tua has two of the greatest receivers in the game today. I think a healthy Tua might win you a league.
All right, 2 out of 3. Dameon Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, or Breece Hall. Who you playing?
I'm not playing Breece Hall. First of all, I love Ramondre Stevenson this week. I think, look, the Dolphins were gashed by the run. Stevenson was not 100% healthy, and they took him out of the game last week because they were playing from behind. Mac Jones threw the ball way more than the Patriots wanted to. So I think Stevenson's a very sneaky pick this week. Dallas's defense was unreal. Are they that good, or were the Giants that bad? I think the answer to that question is yes.
I think you're on to something, Doc.
Doc, and we're talking with Dr. Roto, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, also drroto.com, drroto.com, and that's how you follow him on Twitter /X at drroto. And his segment is brought to you every week by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. We've had a lot of tight end questions, basically people saying there were virtually no good performances last week. Is there a tight end besides like Travis Kelce that you would ride this week?
Well, let me just give you guys in general that I think are more interesting that people may be overlooking. I love this kid, Luke Musgrave in Green Bay. He's a tremendous athlete. Green Bay loves him. My insider there in Green Bay says the team loves him. He just was injured a lot in college, but the skills were always there. The guy's going to play a ton of snaps. So immediately he's somebody I'm interested in. I think Hayden Hurst is somebody we should be interested in. You know, a rookie quarterback's best friend is always a tight end. Hayden Hurst will come in. He is certainly a guy that can catch 50, 55 passes during the season. I like him. I mentioned Sam Laporta earlier. I think certainly he looked pretty good last week, and Seattle's a good matchup. And let's not forget the ancient Zach Ertz. I mean, I don't think Arizona is going to win many games this year, but Zach Ertz is still a good player. Josh Dobbs threw a lot to him. And, you know, the Giants historically have been bad against Zach Ertz. So I think there's a couple of names right there that you could use this week.
Multiple wide receiver questions. One of them is Brandon Ayuk or the Chargers' Mike Williams.
That's an interesting one. I think so. Look, the Titans can be beaten deep. The Titans' secondary is slow. Look at what Rashid Shaheed did last week. Now that was a play that I called. If you watched my Friday Night Lights podcast, that was my sleeper of the week last week because the Titans' secondary is slow. Mike Williams could make a downfield play this week if Justin Herbert is willing to throw the ball deep. So I'll take a shot. I think that game is going to be maybe a little Debo, maybe a little Kittle. I don't know whether Ayuk's going for 2 touchdowns. So that's why I'm going to pass on that one.
Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison? Who do you like, Doc?
Look, Zay Flowers is legit. He is legit. This was predictable. Go watch a YouTube video of him playing at BC. And, you know, look, you know how we say, this guy can stop on a dime. This guy can stop on a grain of sand. Okay? That's how twitchy he is as a player. He can be used a lot like Percy Harvin. If you remember Percy Harvin back in the day, old Gator great. I mean, this guy just can be used on end arounds. He can be used on quick passes, deep passes. I mean, I think he's going to be very hard to stop this week. Jordan Addison, the only way he's successful tonight is if this game is out of hand and they just start chucking it, which could be possible, but give me Zay Flowers.
All right. Don't know if we have time for one more question, but I do want you to get your info out there for people that don't know, like you mentioned your Friday night special there. Just quickly mention what you got going on.
Yeah, please check out drroto.com. We're doing everything we can. You know, your fantasy success is critical to our success, right? So we want it for you. And then, of course, you can find me on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern.
He's Dr. Roto. He makes a weekly house call at this day and time on Miller & Moulton, brought to you by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Doc, have a great weekend. Thanks for doing this. We'll talk next week.
You got it, guys. Take care.
drroto.com, drroto.com. It is a great fantasy site. You'd be very impressed with the people he has on staff.
Don't know if the Giants offense was that bad or the Cowboys defense was that good. Yes. Miller.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, by next week, we will have an official coffee of the Miller and Moulton show.
The guy came through?
Yep.
You got to drink it. You're the coffee drinker.
I told him he's going to send me £1, and then I said I'm going to have you send £1 to David's wife at some point.
That is true. Hops, you are so right. Days of Thunder, baby. Channel it. We got ourselves a sponsor. Do you guys think the Tribe will fire it the 19th?
Yes. The Hard Rock app, David. Do you think the Tribe will fire it the 19th?
Gotcha.
Yes. I 100% I do, John. Short term, yes. Long term, no. But neither here nor there.
So does that mean that question that I asked you before the show, is it still 6 minutes or is it now 5?
No, it's still 6.
Okay. You free this afternoon?
Until about 1:30.
Gotcha.
What do you got?
Well, no, I'll be done with this meeting at 2. The meeting's like 12:30 to 2.
Gotcha.
So I'll be driving back 2 to 4.
No, I actually just got invited to play golf literally during the last segment. Had to clear it with the wife, and now I have the okay.
Awesome. You hitting it better?
The last 2 times, I think I found something, but we'll see. Hopefully today's not a mess because I'm playing with 2 strangers, so at a nice course.
Well, that's cool.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us on this Thursday. We've got football tonight. We also have a big Rays-Orioles series getting underway in Baltimore. Rays within 2 in the AL East. 4-game series. Take 3 out of 4. Tied in the standings. 1 back in the loss column. Bada bing, bada boom. Can you feel it? Huh? Are you with me? Not feeling it. Not feeling it. I was feeling it earlier. Feel as if I've lost you.
No. I'm all in on the series. I just 3 of 4 from the Baltimore Orioles right now is not easy to do.
They've just lost 3 of 4 to the Red Sox and the Cardinals. Come on, this is doable. Don't get weak on me now. Don't falter on me. We can do this.
Be the first baseball I've watched since cutting the cord.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's another reason why I'm having trouble luring you in. It's been 2 weeks. You've no bally's. You're just wandering in the wilderness there.
I'm aimlessly wandering around without baseball, David. All I have is football, and, well, I had tennis last week. That's why I watched so much of the damn U.S. Open.
By the way, you weren't alone. This just in. Coco Gauff winning is good for tennis in America. This just in, she's an American. And we have a tendency to watch our own. See, it's that whole flag thing. We get wrapped up in it every chance we get. The best ratings they've had in a long time, ESPN, U.S. Open. They had almost 1.5 million more people. Now, granted, it was Saturday to Sunday. There was this thing going on Sunday. You may have heard of it. It's called the National Football League. But there were 1.5 million more people watching Coco Gauff Saturday afternoon than watching Joker. Just saying. I mean, it was up against UNLV Michigan. I mean, that's a pretty tough, I mean, that's almost like an NFL game, right?
Yeah, this preseason of college football has got to stop here pretty soon.
Hey. I will say it would be the only good thing about this premier super college football league if this is the direction this damn sport's going in the next 10 years. Okay, if you put 20, 30, 40 teams together and they're all good, guess what? There's no UNLV versus Michigan on your schedule. Got it? You're all playing good teams. This just in. You're going to a lot of 7-5, 8-4 out there. You sure you guys can handle it? I don't think so, by the way you guys schedule.
I mean, last week, at least we had the Bama game. This week, there's nothing.
Very disappointing.
South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. I mean, ugh.
I mean, I got to admit, I don't know if CBS had a do-over, if they would do it differently. I mean, Georgia is the 2-time defending national champion. And so I don't know nationally if there's more interest in Georgia or if there's more interest in Florida, Tennessee. I know in these parts, obviously, it's Florida, Tennessee. I think, by the way, huge game for Napier because he's not going to lose his job. It's not that kind of huge game. But, Mark, sometimes you need to win a game to get the money people to believe in you. Ed Orgeron was struggling at LSU. He took over as an interim in 2016. He kind of, half-baked it in 2017. And 2018, he's got this new quarterback, Burrow, and they're doing okay, but they haven't beaten anybody. And the LSU people are like almost 2 years now of Ed Orgeron, and they're like, are we sure this guy's the guy? I mean, we haven't beaten anybody worth a damn. I'm tired of moral victories and whatever. We're LSU. And they went out and beat Georgia. on a Saturday afternoon in Baton Rouge. Georgia hadn't been there in over a decade. Georgia fans were fired up for the game, and it was nationally televised, and LSU played really well, and they won. And at that moment, you could tell for the first time the fan base said, okay, he's our guy. We'll ride this out, another year, 2, 3, whatever it is. But, okay, we're going to back off. You're our guy. And I kind of feel like even though it's early, I kind of feel like Billy needs one of those wins, Mark, where he can just get the faithful to go, okay, all right, we'll give him a shot.
Yeah. See, Orgeron had this thing called a burrow. I'm trying to figure out who Billy Napier's anything is right now. No, I'm being serious.
I understand.
There's not the one guy that you look at and go, hey, here it is.
But he wasn't college football legend Joe Burrow yet, if you know what I mean. That was also the first big win of Joe Burrow's college career. Obviously, he couldn't get on the field at Ohio State. That was the first year he was at LSU, not the legendary second year. But so it could be the same thing, by the way, whether I doubt it's Graham Mertz, but, who knows? Maybe it's a running back who goes for $150.
No, that's what I mean. It's not Mertz, but is it someone?
Right.
Is there a talent that you see and go, oh,
yeah. Yep.
What? Wait a minute. I remember what those looked like, and I've not seen one of those around here in the past couple of years. And I'm with you. Could be a receiver, could be a running back. Hell, it could be a defensive player that just does something special. What did we say about Florida State when they beat LSU? All of a sudden, they had what? They had some dudes on defense.
They had dudes. Yep. That's how we used to look. Right. I agree with you. It would be awesome, A, obviously, to win if you're a Florida fan. But B, if even there's one player in which you go, oh, look at that. We got a dude. There hasn't been something special. Kind of Anthony Richardson. He gave you moments.
He gave you a moment. There's no doubt. That Utah game, that was a dude. That was a dude. Don't make any mistake. That's what they look like.
His run and throw against LSU, he gave you some moments in which you went, wow, we got a dude. And then when he left a year early, you went, snap. Really? So, a win. But, if you could have a special moment or special player also. I just think Billy's got to buy some time here. Okay, think about it. Think about what they were saying a year ago heading into year 3 for Mike Norvell. Florida State faithful weren't behind him. They're like, we're stuck with him. We can't afford to replace him. I don't know if he's the guy. We haven't had a winning season yet. I don't think he's the guy. Then they beat LSU, and you're like, maybe he's the guy. All right, I'll give him a chance. And I just think, Mark, as tough as their schedule is this year with Utah and Florida State and 8 SEC games, they play 11 power conference games next year. 8 SEC, Miami, Florida State, and UCF. I mean, Scott Strickland's not doing his guy any favors.
Which means Scott Strickland's not doing Scott Strickland any favors either, because they're tied together. I mean, that's the other side of this. If Napier goes down, Strickland's going down with him. He's not going to get to hire another football coach. It doesn't work that way.
No, you don't get to hire 3 football coaches. No. If the first 2 didn't work out. You only get to hire a third if at least one of the first 2 worked out. Right. So, I tell you what, though. I got a feeling. Just saying. I got a feeling. I mean, this isn't Hendon Hooker, okay? This is Joe Milton. Name me the moment that Joe Milton has had in his college career. By the way, name me the last time Tennessee won in the Swamp. Exactly. It's the first term of the George W. Bush administration. Okay? 20 years. Ron Zook was the coach of the Gators the last time Tennessee won in the Swamp. Okay? All right? Just saying. Spread 6.5 for a reason. This ain't a walkthrough Saturday night.
But if it is, you just made the first comparison to Ron Zook. for Billy Napier. And David, that's a comparison no coach wants.
Which is so funny because he beat Florida State in Tallahassee. He beat LSU the year they only lost one game and won the national title. It was Zook and the Gators who went to Baton Rouge and beat him. He had some great wins and he had some losses.
But he made one big mistake, David. One big mistake that was the end for Ron Zook. I was not yet working with you, David. And as long as it's been since Tennessee's beaten Florida in the swamp, it's been nearly that long since Miller and Moulton have had a Florida Gator coach on.
It was October of 2004, Mark. It was a Thursday too. I can tell you exactly where I was sitting. Yep. Yep. Ron Zook came on 2 days before they were going to Starkville to play Mississippi State. This is long before Dan Mullen and Dak Prescott and what have you. They were not good. And they lost. And Zook didn't make it to the locker room before Jeremy Foley fired him. Fired him at like the 20-yard line. So they were walking off the field together. And that is true. That is the last time we've had a Florida football coach associated with either Miller or Moulton.
Maybe one day it'll change. Maybe one day it'll change.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's the reason why. Okay. Well, last time we gave those guys an interview, for goodness sakes, coach got fired. We lost at Mississippi State. So funny, too. We used to send emails going, you do know Bobby Bowden comes on our show, right?
Regularly at that point.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to affect them at all.
Steve McLean was the SID. He didn't give a damn. He still doesn't give a damn. I digress. Don't need to go too much further down this road.
No, but it is a big moment for Napier and the Gators.
Yeah.
David, I'm moral victories mean squat to the Gators right now.
Oh,
they need victories.
Right.
And if they lose this game, that 5.5 under looks like a good play.
Meanwhile, it's kind of like the Bucs this week. If you beat the Bears, you start looking at the schedule going, they're 9-8 might happen here. The Gators, you beat Tennessee. Kentucky hasn't looked great. South Carolina struggled. Their offensive line's terrible. Missouri offensively hasn't taken the next step. You start to look at all these toss-up games and go, we might be on the right side of these one-score games. Now, all of a sudden, you look at that schedule and you go, might be 8 wins here. Hell, there might be 9. That's how quickly it can turn, baby. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. e-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You just going to drive to Athens? Is it quicker?
No. It's funny.
I'm joking.
Although, had to last year drive to Knoxville. Stayed home on a Friday to do a Sirius show and said, well, I'll just take the first flight out Saturday, fly to Atlanta. And actually, we were getting picked up at the hotel and being driven to Knoxville. And flight got canceled. And so I had to drive to Knoxville to make the game.
From Jacksonville?
Yeah. It was the Alabama-Tennessee game, too. It was a hell of a game to make. I showed up in the parking lot the same time that everybody showed up from the hotel, 3 hours before kickoff. They're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, flight got canceled. Had to drive. It's funny. I thought CBS made the right call, taking South Carolina, Georgia. The way South Carolina ended last year with the two big wins.
Right.
Georgia, two-time defending national champion, but when one game is a 6.5-point spread, and what's the Georgia-South Carolina spread? Like 20-something?
Is it really?
I think so.
$27.5.
I mean, geez. They're basically saying we're going to get Alabama, South Florida. Only 5 points difference. Golly.
Michigan State could lose by 30 this week.
Who do you guys have again?
Washington.
Who's
good. It's in East Lansing. But with everything that's going on there, bringing D'Antonio in, how is that supposedly going to help?
That was predictable, though, wasn't it? They didn't make him interim, didn't they? Didn't they just bring him in?
They made him associate head coach. Who do you get? Do you go to Kansas or do you go to Duke?
Yeah, or the guy at Iowa State. Do you say to Dan Campbell, you ready to leave? But yeah, it's funny, I don't think the Kansas guy would leave for Michigan State.
That would be stupid.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. He's not chair dancing, but he's chair bobbing today. He is Mark Miller. I'm David Moulton. Thanks for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts, and we even got to make a pick or two tonight. After all, we got football. That's right. Get back in the swing of the Thursday. It comes in 2 days off. That's all we get. Get right back on the horse. Let's go. 5 straight days of football. That's how this works. Come on now.
As well it should. Eagles and Vikings tonight. Did you see Tua's comments when asked about throwing the deep ball?
No.
Criticized, basically said, I don't care, but then ended it with 466. Can't throw the deep ball. 466.
Just good. You know what? This guy's finding his voice this year. He's tired of it. He played the nice guy for a long time. College, first couple years in the NFL, he's like, you know what? I'm sick of this crap. Everybody says I suck. I don't suck.
He's easy to root for in that regard, that people try to take him out every time they get an opportunity to. And he was, you're right, humble last year. It had to be because he got banged around.
Have you seen, with all the NFL film stuff that's out there, have you seen what got released concerning the Dolphins-Chargers game? 2 things. First off, and it wasn't an NFL Films deal, the Dolphins released this. They showed a drill that Tua did through the offseason, in which he's got the pocket is a circle on the field. They have it circled. And his job is to go from the back of the pocket to the front of the pocket, step up in it. And then he was practicing, being forced up in the pocket and off one foot, throwing the ball deep. And they showed a couple of sequences in practice in which he did that. Remember the touchdown to Tyreek? Or the deep ball anyway?
When he stepped up in the pocket and threw it deep
one
foot. Yeah.
Off 1 foot, hit Tyreek in stride. Yeah. And so they showed the practice, and then they showed the game. And then also apparently Tyreek called the play, the deep one for a touchdown. Okay. That Tyreek went to Wes Welker and said, okay, I got him. Okay, I got him on this move. I got him. I've been setting him up. Okay, I've been setting him up off the line of scrimmage. I got him. Call it. And they did. And Tua hit him. And, of course, he was open because he's Tyreek Hill and nobody can catch him. And touchdown. And Tyreek goes running the sidelines. And he says to Welker, I told you I got him. And Welker said, keep telling me, baby. Keep telling me.
He told the other sideline.
Yeah.
He let a few words go that they don't really use on TV, and they had him zoomed right in on him for those comments that I think all of us saw, because he said them a few times to the other sideline. He was talking.
But it's all Tyreek, guys. It's all Tyreek. That's the reason why Tua is so good. It's just Tyreek Hill, It's the only reason.
People are then saying, so is he the only reason Mahomes was any good? Or that's no. Yeah. So listen, I will say, it's one game, stay healthy. So go to New England and win. Just go to New England and beat a team that you're better than.
Our number is the only one that matters, David. Really and truly, all the Tua talk all year long is simplified in what David and I came up with 2.5 months ago. 14.5. Does he play over that number? That's all that matters. Because if he doesn't, the people that are tour detractors will have all the ammo that they need. He can't stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he's going to be in the MVP candidate talk because that offense will be that explosive.
I will say New England's going to hit him more than the Chargers did.
I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth.
Sorry, Tua. Sorry. But you are going to get hit more this week. I'm sorry to tell you. See, the team you're playing this week's a lot better coach than the team you played last week. I'm just saying. Matthew Judon, by the way, might be better than Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. All right. He's a handful. I'm just saying. You're going to get hit this week. You're going to get sacked this week.
But boy, after, the Eagles offense didn't look that good. They won.
Right.
But you imagine if the Dolphins go in and win and look at all like they did last week.
Right. Put up 400 yards on the Patriots who just had the Eagles to 251.
And get to 30.
Yeah, just go 27-20. Get out of town. Honestly, just, Tua's 4-0 against the Patriots. Just make it 5-0 and get on the damn plane. Come home 2-0. You'll be in first place in the division. The Jets are losing to the Cowboys. All right, you'll come home in first place. By the way, Patriots started 0-2. And 2 tough games, granted, but 2 home games. Granted, it's Eagles-Dolphins, but still. Man, an 0-2 start's bad enough. An 0-2 start both at home? Ooh. I'm telling you, he's coaching Washington next year. It's Lombardi returning to the Redskins. Okay, it'll be Belichick to the Commanders. 55 years later, I'm telling you, it's happening.
That is the prediction of all predictions right there.
I just so want to be right on that one. I could pick every game wrong if I get that one right.
You're damn right you can, David.
That was you.
The game
2 years
coins. That's all that is.
That was you.
Points.
I'm sorry, Mark. That was you 2 years early saying LeBron's going to Miami. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You've gotten 117 games wrong since. Honestly, 2 years in advance, you said he was going to Miami. It was like, are you high? I'm telling you, he's going to Miami.
We were doing afternoons. There's a 50-50 chance I was.
Those were the days.
21,000's the text line, 21000. How about that?
Oh, look at the time. Hey, a graphic came out. I just thought I'd share it. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do the graphic. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do John Rahm. Did you see his quote?
I did.
Okay. He was asked about Sergio and, in the future, should they make him a captain or a vice captain? He goes, quote, I think it would be really stupid of anybody not to lean on Sergio Garcia's experience in the Ryder Cup. I mean, he is the best player Europe's ever had, won the most points, and showed it time and time again. If he were able to be a vice captain this year, I absolutely would be leaning on him.
There's not a microphone that's been put in front of John Rahm that he has not advocated for Sergio Garcia vehemently. He is, if they lose, there's a chance John Rahm's going to get to a mic and blame them for not having Sergio as a vice captain as to why they lost.
Or on the team, period.
Right.
Saying, don't care what his record is. Don't care how old he is. It's a Ryder Cup and it's Sergio Garcia. Enough said. What if they beat us again? I got a good team.
So do we.
I understand, but it's over there. We don't win over there. This is even worse than Tennessee going into the swamp here. I mean, we don't win over there. I mean, our drought in Europe's almost as long as the Lions' playoff victory drought. Almost as long, but really close. Ray Floyd was on the last U.S. Ryder Cup team to win in Europe. He's 81 years old. Okay? We don't win there.
That's a drought, David. That's a bit of a drought.
Just saying.
And they're already making excuses that this course is tough to walk. Nobody can play all 5 days. Zach's already making excuses, and we haven't started it yet. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when. What's on tap? And a few final thoughts as we finish out the day right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls.
That's what you
It's
mean,
not
right?
with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's spectacular. EB, Ed, that's spectacular. That's exactly,
Jolly.
that's exactly how we want everybody to be. Truthful. No BS. When you capitalize jolly, that was the that was the giveaway. Jolly equals fat. Yep. That was code. A whole show of the moment.
It was.
It's true.
And we don't mean that in a bad way, Ed.
No. Not at all.
Usually I'm responsible for that in the 6 o'clock hour.
And he's certainly allowed to give away the award. That's funny. By the way, the food, which I ate off camera earlier this morning of the day, was tuna mac salad. Big bowl of tuna mac salad. That was breakfast this morning.
I had ice cream for breakfast yesterday.
Yes!
I could eat ice cream for breakfast every day. I'm
Now
going to get
we're
on the
talking.
scale today at the I got a doctor's appointment today. I've got my numbers. They were all great. I went right off the diet. I've probably gained 8 pounds since then. He's going to yell at me, and I'm going to go, I don't know what to tell you. My numbers were great.
My numbers were great. I had ice cream yesterday. Tough. Deal with it.
Had it for breakfast and dessert.
Yeah. By the way, paying who? That's what I thought.
Oh, I couldn't eat. Oh, McDonald's chicken nuggets. Bleh.
Now that's you got to be drunk. I think for chicken nuggets at McDonald's. I know they were first with them, but they're awful. I will say, can of relief, when I do the chicken nuggets, and I'll do them maybe once a year, I'll do 20. I don't do the 4 or 5 they give you. No, that's no. I need to be hankering for them. But they're trashy. I get different sauces to try to make me feel like they taste different.
But they did save most parents from having to cook because of the chicken McNugget, we became with the chicken strip, which became basically the meal for most children.
Which became chicken wraps for a while, which did raise my daughter. Subway and chicken wraps at McDonald's. That's what she was raised on.
Welcome to the Bonus Hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We had a fun show today. Don't you think? We still got the good bad. What?
It flew by.
Yeah. And we still got the good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. And we got some picks to make because we got some football tonight, and we don't mean messy. You ready?
No.
Don't
We have
screw it.
football.
Right.
We have football going on tonight.
Right. Yeah, helmet, shoulder pads, the whole deal. Angry fans in the stands in Philadelphia. Yes, absolutely.
Boy, they will be angry too. Even though they won, they're going to be angry to start this game.
Well, because since they've last seen them, they've lost the Super Bowl and look like against the Patriots. And the Phillies just saw the Braves celebrate across the parking lot last night. And Harden's not playing for the Sixers, and Embiid wants out, and the Flyers suck. So the mood has changed.
If the Eagles get the ball first and go 4 and out, I would not be surprised if they boo.
I'm never surprised if they boo.
Also, is it 3 and out or 4 and out?
It's 3 and out.
3 and out. My bad.
Although with the Eagles, considering they go for it anytime it's 4th and 2 or less with the Bush push play, it might actually be 4 and out, Felipe. It might be.
Yeah.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1814 we start. Francis Scott Key pens the poem The Defense of Fort McHenry, later known as the Star-Spangled Banner.
I have to admit, I like the second ring to it.
I'm with you. It wouldn't have been the same.
What was that first one again?
The Defense of Fort McHenry.
It sounds like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
You know, don't be knocking the Canadian troubadour Gordon Lightfoot.
I love that song.
Not on this show.
I love that song. I have a business meeting I have to drive 2 hours for. I'm going to be singing that song for at least 30 minutes of it. I love that song. I'm just saying the name of it, though. Tell you what, you know what? Now I'm going to try to.
Who else can get you Gumi into a song?
That's correct. And B, now when I'm driving, I'm going to try to sing the Star Spangled Banner as Gordon Lightfoot doing the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
1848, Alexander Stewart opens the first U.S. department store. It was called the Marble Palace. It was in downtown New York. 1901, Theodore Roosevelt is sworn as the youngest man to serve as a U.S. president after William McKinley finally dies. He was shot 6 days prior.
Look at you. Finally dies? What? Do you have a pool? What? Yeah, the old man finally died. Bastard. He was a president. He finally, it's a good thing he finally died.
Christy Mathewson pitches and wins his final game today in 1916. The first helicopter takes flight today in Stratford, Connecticut in 1939. Khrushchev appointed first secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union today in 1953. Today in 1956, IBM introduces the Ramac 305, the first commercial computer with a hard drive that uses magnetic disk storage. It would weigh over a ton.
305?
Walt Disney is awarded the Medal of Freedom today in 1964. Denny McClain wins his 30th game of the season today in 68 for the Tigers. I'm sure he bet on himself. Then he'd bet against himself once the World Series started.
You are overlooking the fact he was going head-to-head against Bob Gibson.
He gave up a ton of runs, though. It wasn't like it was a 2-1 pitching duel. He was shelled.
He knew Golesh had his back. He was pitching games 2 and 5. He had his back.
The Waltons premiered today in 1972. Good night, John Boy. 1973, Nixon signs into law a measure lifting pro football's blackout. Big day in 81, David. The People's Court and Entertainment Tonight both premiered on television.
By the way, you don't recognize the first two hosts of Entertainment Tonight. They got rid of those two quickly. There was no Mary Hart. There was no John Tesh. They moved on from those two quickly.
Today in 84, the first MTV Video Music Awards. For those wondering, the Cars win with You Might Think. It was the big winner of the night. The Golden Girls premiered today in 1985.
I need a moment. Actually, our former producer, John Cassio, needs a moment.
Yes, he does. He's on YouTube at this point forward for the rest of the day watching it. 86, Walter Payton scores his 100th career touchdown and surpasses 15,000 career yards in a win over the Eagles. 87, Lendl wins his third straight U.S. Open. Today in 91, this freshman for San Diego State had a pretty good game. His name was Marshall Faulk. He would rush for 386 yards and score 7 touchdowns.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah. Mark McGuire gets to 50 today in 96. And Jamal Lewis sets a single-game rushing record today in 03 when he runs for 295 yards in a 33-13 victory over Cleveland. Amy Winehouse would have been 40 today. Larry Brown's 83. Jimmy Butler and Tony Finau are 34.
Tobias Harris over me?
He was waiting for it.
What did I miss, David?
A couple of things. So I Shot the Sheriff.
Yeah.
Debuted in the top 100 today. I just thought we went, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I just thought I'm bringing out all the oldies but goodies here. Grace Kelly died today, back in 82. That was kind of a big deal. She was a Hollywood star and a real-life princess. But today was the day in 94 that Bud Selig said, we're canceling everything. It's funny, the week had started with hope. Because the strike was like 4 or 5 weeks old. But today was the day that Bud Selig came out and said, yeah, we're canceling the playoffs in the World Series. We're done. No more negotiations. It's over. Season canceled. People are like, what? Even the players were like, ooh, what are you talking about? We were just talking. No, it's over. It's done. Expos and Yankees were the two best teams in baseball. And the Yankees hadn't made the playoffs since 81. It was, needless to say, big. And obviously, it probably ended baseball in Montreal. Larry Walker, Pedro Martinez, Moises Alou. Oh, that was an awesome team. So that's all I got.
Expos get a team again? Does Montreal ever get a baseball team again?
No, because apparently they decided they don't want one. Apparently Montreal was really into the split season Rays idea, and they got excited about it. And when Major League Baseball went, we ain't doing that, then Montreal said, well, then you know what? We're done with you guys. You guys keep dangling the carrot in front of us. We're done. That's the word apparently for the business community of Montreal, that they just said, you know what? Screw you. We're done.
Happy birthday, Jimmy Buckets. The city of Miami will always love you.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Logan Stryker, young kid, 9 years old, just finished his last chemo treatment at the Golesh Children's Hospital. That's good enough for me. But one of the things he didn't like was the smell when he was there. He said he doesn't like coffee, and that's what he couldn't get over. So while going through all of his treatments with a rare form of cancer, his big thing that he had to do was a driveway lemonade stand fundraiser where he raised thousands of dollars so he could buy an icy machine for the 5th floor break room at the Children's Hospital. Goes beyond good, Logan. It's great. Good for you, young man. For the bad, we go to California, where California Highway Patrol spotted someone on a horse with an open container. So they arrested him.
Oh, so it wasn't the being on the horse. It was the open container.
It was the open container.
He's on a highway on a horse. Hey, listen.
On a highway on a horse.
Listen, you can be on the 305, but you can't be on 305 with an open Budweiser.
Correct. The officer was able to get the horse back home while the rider of the horse was arrested. And finally, this is an all-time ugly. It's disturbing, and I can't help but do it. A Florida mother was arrested after she left her 11-year-old son in a hotel room with a dead man for several hours after a drug-fueled threesome. That's right.
Oh.
The 32-year-old mom left with one of the guys she was with for the night, left her 11-year-old son with a 60-year-old man who she said was snoring unusually, but she decided to leave her kid there either way. They returned several hours later to find the 60-year-old man dead and the 11-year-old still in the room. That is an all-time good, bad, and ugly on today, September the 14th, 2023.
That's awful. We'll start with the baseball. All right. We've got 5 afternoon games. First of all, the Yankees and Red Sox, it's a makeup doubleheader. So they're playing 1:35 and then 7:15. The nightcap's on Fox, but we won't get that because we've got Rays Orioles. Tampa Bay 2 back in the standings, 3 in the loss column. Baltimore needs to win one of these 4 to A, remain in first, and B, to own the tiebreaker because they've won 6 of the first 9 meetings this year. Baltimore's a slight favorite tonight. Aaron Savale against Kyle Bradish. Good pitching matchup. Just saying. 7:15 on Fox, Mark. Fox. Marlins, by the way, 2 o'clock today, wrap up their series in Milwaukee. They're a half a game behind the Diamondbacks, who later in the afternoon wrap up their series in New York against the Mets. We got football tonight. First off, we do have college football. Canes are on ACC Network. They're taking on Bethune at 7:30. Also on the mothership, as Dan Patrick would call it, Navy and Memphis, 7:30 ESPN. Memphis, a 14-point favorite. But here we go, Mark. Eagles, 6-point favorites at home against the Vikings. Over under 49. I know what I'm going to do.
I'm going to lay the points and stay away from the over-under completely. I like the under, but I'm not playing it. I'm just letting you know that I would play the under if I were to play it, but that's goes against the way you should do this. If you're laying the points, you should play the over. I am just simply laying the points tonight, David.
I am A, going to lay the points, but B, I'm also going to make a teaser bet. I'm going to tease the over-under up 6 points to 55, and I'm going to tease the Eagles down to a pick 'em. So I'm going to take the Eagles and lay the 6, but I'm also going to get the Eagles at pick 'em and bet the under because I've moved it all the way up to 55. See what I'm doing there?
Oh, no. I see what you're doing.
There's a reason I'm 4-9 so far this year, ladies and gentlemen, okay?
And there's a reason he's already chasing, and I like it. That'll let you know tomorrow when we make our picks that there is no way in hell Moulton is having anything close to 5. Over under on David's picks right now, 7.5, and I'm going over.
Because either way, if I hit this, I am so feeling it that I'm just making 19 bets. And if I don't hit this, I'm like, my goodness, I am in such a hole. I'm making 19 bets.
And it doesn't matter because I know you've got to make a drive today. You're going to be in the car for about 4 hours. So just on that alone, that's 6 picks by itself.
You got that right. I have a notepad with me. I'll just pull over. Okay. Ooh, come to think of it. Ooh, you're listening to NFL radio or the college show. You hear something. Ooh, I didn't know that. I like that. Right.
Be a lot of nuggets coming at you today, David. And you're going to share them with us tomorrow. I cannot wait.
And we ain't talking chicken, if you know what I mean.
But if we were, it would be a 20-piece.
Yes, I would. 2 different sauces, by the way, barbecue and honey mustard. This way I feel like I'm eating different nuggets. Take myself out. Cam Hayward, by the way, the Steelers having groin surgery, is going to miss 8 weeks. No big deal or anything.
And they're without one of their receivers as well.
Deontay Johnson, hamstring. Wondering whether or not they're going to have to, IL him or not. So there you go. Good show. Lee Sterling to make his picks tomorrow. Pat Kerwin tomorrow. That's how we roll. We're Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening to the Diamond District Bonus Hour.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense.